Hello everybody and welcome back to the semi-final number 2, and this time around it will be Yize against Mark Allen as the showdown towards the final stage of the Crucible does continue to go on. Once again, this is not going to be the first appearance for Mark Allen on a one table setup, but that will be the case for Yize at the Crucible, certainly trying to make sure that he still carries on to be the player that has managed to beat John Higgins in the final of Nanjing, and before that, of course, he's managed to defeat all the champions in the world, the likes of Judd Trump, the finalist of Barry Hawkins, and then, of course, very much against Xiao he was in the form of his life. Now, can he try and extend that brilliant run of form that he had against the likes of Hussein Mafai, against the likes of Mark Selby, and then, of course, in the opening round against Li Peifan as well? It will be interesting to see whether that is the case. For now, it's going to have to come down to the introduction of the players, and first of all, it will be Mark Allen to try and make his way towards a one-table setup. He's been here before against John Higgins, the man trying to challenge Sean Murphy for the other very much spot in the final, but of course he has happened beforehand against the likes of John Higgins and Mark Selby. On both of those occasions, he wasn't successful. Now, he certainly has got the run to go slightly more in his favour, because despite him being the lowest seed out of the two players, he will still be very much down to Mark Allen to try and bring his best snooker towards the table. And yes, it certainly will be very interesting to be watching whether you are going to be down to Mark Allen or Yize. For me personally, on the one session basis only, it will probably come down to Mark Allen to be probably the favourite because he's been here before. Whether Yize is going to have any sort of impact on himself first and foremost, we're going to have to wait and see. For now, it will be Mark Allen that makes his way towards the one table setup, certainly getting a nice little reception out there as well, with standing applause from the crowd. And certainly hoping that he would enjoy this one as well. And yeah, he certainly seems to be enjoying himself out there. Just trying to make it as straightforward as he can. And just trying to make a show for the fans. And yeah, he certainly seems to be enjoying himself. As you can see, the world number 14, and therefore 14th seed at the Crucible as well. Nearly was the first man to be eliminated there, or as he thought. And after that performance from Zhang Anda in the first session, now he will be down to the rising star, 22 years of age. Now, he's been here before, in relation to the finals, against Li Peifan, against Neil Robertson, and now he will be very much the first appearance here in the semi-final of the Crucible. It is going to be Yize that makes his way down the stairs, and hopefully, certainly he's going to have a bit of a show to put up here in front of the fans. The player that will be the only overseas player trying to make it down to the final here at the Crucible. We've seen Xiao Xingtong from the previous season. Now, are we going to see Yize to try and replicate that performance and make himself to be very much the man to beat? Whether it is going to be Sean Murphy or John Higgins, Yize does come into this match as a favourite. Whether it will be by a long margin or not, we'll have to wait and see. For now, Mark Allen is going to have to try and bring his A game to the table, and Yize's B game, well, I'll tell you what, we've seen plenty of it, and now he will still be very interesting to see what's going to happen, as Allen clearly, you can see that he's been here before because he's not, necessarily ready for the handshake yet, because he knows they need to get the artificial stairs out of the way. Yize just seems like he cannot wait to absolutely get going here. Allen clearly getting himself in the zone where, the thing about Yize, you can clearly see it in their face, two very different perspectives out there that we're seeing. One of them clearly has been here before, clearly knows what to expect. The other one just doesn't seem to care on what's going to happen, and he will come down to Yize to be the man to break off. He must have thought the toss would be done a little bit later on, but anyway, it is Yize that tries to break off the Reds away from each other, and ultimately it will be the first frame for him to try and kick off. And so hopefully it will be a really good match out there for us to be seeing, because listen, the first semi-final wasn't too bad at all, but you feel like you are missing a little bit of that top scoring form there from the likes of Murphy and the likes of John Higgins especially, although Higgins finally managed to have a couple of decent breaks in the end. But it was Murphy that was very much setting the breaks of 60 plus and having 3 of those despite only winning 4 frames out of the opening 8. Mark Allen probably known for, his ability to get over the line and produce those very important clearances at the end. When it comes to decider, he seems to have a good record as well. But ultimately, when it comes to Yize, he's probably going to be your pick to try and take it over the finish line without needing to go to the final lap out there, because you're going to lap everyone else before you get to the final stage of the race. Is that going to be the case? For now, the long shot was taken there by Allen into the left corner, and he clearly felt there was nothing to leave into the right part of the table, but the same red that he missed, maybe left with a long shot here available for Yize. And I can tell you for free, he's not going to refuse shots like that. Is he going to make shots like that? Not for now. And he's going to have that cue ball to bounce with a huge sort of pace injected on it. But in the end, it seems like just about managed to run safe there for the white. He may have left the red to be taken into the middle, but at the same stage, it's not going to be anywhere near as bad as it could have been had he left a couple of those reds to be available into the right corner. But still, it's a chance that for Allen. And whatever he does, he needs to make sure he keeps the red out of the pocket and make sure that he won't be staying over the pocket. So the way to do that, of course, is try and inject a little bit of extra pace and make sure you're going to have a shot into the front jaw, which he has done. So it's not necessarily the worst thing that can happen. As you can see, tournament century so far, only 4 of those that we've seen from Yize in the opening 3 rounds, which I'd probably say it's probably the biggest disappointment of him. He's been playing really, really well, but I suppose you can't really expect a player to be making centuries against the likes of Mark Selby. The first round probably can be forgiven for against Li Beifan, but the double is certainly a brilliant one, and he's Yize that gets himself through to a good start, and he's going to have the first point on the board as well. Brilliant double, and this is going to be a hell of a match this is, because once again he came out here to play. Now can he try and cut the black into the right corner, or is that too much to ask for? And not too much to ask at all. And he's going to be able to get that black into the right corner. Now still retain that position on those reds, although just about, as he's going to try and go for a mid-range shot now into the corner. Taking that black really well, and of course playing for the top side of the table, but doing that with still clear intention to try and get that cue ball back down the table as he tries to play a red into the corner. Once again, very important for him to try and keep the momentum going. For now, he's done that. Is he going to be on the blue, though? He will be. Probably not into the pocket that he wanted to, but still going to have a chance to try and play the blue into the green pocket here. Although he may actually have finished. You can see with his body language, it's one of them positions there where you sort of can go for the blue into the green pocket, but at the same time, you can try and play it into the right middle as well. But I feel like his style of play, probably prefer to try and take the blue away, very much into the green pocket here. It plays that well. He's still going to be on the red, and well, I'll tell you what, this could be the potential starting block there for Yize, because as we've seen Mark Allen on his interview, the matches that he had against John Higgins and Mark Selby didn't really get very far in the first session and had to try and find himself playing catch-up during both of those matches. So let's see if that's going to be the case here. Once again, a very quick reminder on the score sheet. He will be down to 10 frames to 2 that he beat Li Beifan, then had a really good match with Mark Selby, and looks like that one was going to be heading the distance, but in the end, despite Selby having a couple of those opportunities, he just wasn't able to get the most out of the position, and Yize managed to beat him 13 frames to 11, and then against Hossein Wafai, the man that managed to knock out the world number 1 and the 2nd seed out of the tournament, certainly feels like he's going to find himself in a position to try and challenge Mark Allen here as well, and make it 3 semi-finals and 3 defeats here for Mark, and make it once again a very much Team China to progress towards the semi-finals. Now is he going to be on the red into the left middle? He's played his trademark shot into the bunch, and I'll tell you what, he could not have played that any better, and he's still going to have plenty of reds to choose from, and especially the one that he's got into the left middle. Tournament back split success so far at 73%. Not too bad at all for him. And he's going to have a decent opportunity to try and extend this streak even further. Wants to try and make sure he's going to miss out on the green. Does that well and gives himself to have the opportunity to be top side of the brown, so that he's going to have plenty of colours to choose from at the top and side of the table, as well as having plenty of reds to try and play for that part of the table as well, trying to get around the red to try and take it into the yellow pocket, make sure the yellow itself is going to be possible after this is done. And tournament frames won, percentage-wise, 63% for Yize, 58% for Mark Cullen. Of course, that does tell you that, you could argue that you can't really face any more difficulty of the opponents than the likes that defeat the world number one of Hussein, and then the likes of Mark Selby, the 4-time world champion, and very much the dark horse, you could say, of the lower part of the draw alongside the likes of Chomp. But in the end, it is Yize that makes his way past that group of death, if you want to say. The likes of Hussein, Sijawi, Chomp, Mark Selby. He's managed to overcome every single one of them, and now trying to find himself in a really good line for the first frame win in a quarter-final too, in the semi-final too. I nearly took away something from him there, as he's now about to play for the black to be taken into the right corner. Once again, just doesn't seem like he's going to be overthinking about any of those shots, and just trying to make it as straightforward for himself as he possibly can. Trying to go for the red into the right part of the table as well. Play this shot with a little bit of topspin and make sure you're going to get yourself lined up with a shot on the black to be taken into the left corner as well. For now finds himself 48 points clear, and trying to go for a shot of the black here into the corner, as I say. Then he's going to have a couple of shots to choose from, but ultimately feels like he's gone for the easiest one. Just trying to play through the black and make sure he's going to have a red to be taken into the corner. Underrun slightly, not without that, but still, having a really good line to try and take this shred away into the right corner. And for now, you can see his Crucible record so far has been dreadful before the start of this season. Debut in 2023, very much the breakthrough year for the likes of Sijawi and to a certain extent, to a different extent, but Luca Brissell. And lost 2 of those matches in 2025 and 2023 as well. Now, as the seeded player found himself to be up against Li Beifan, managed to win that match very comfortably by 10 frames to 2, and it was very much the Scottish Open rematch for him, which he's managed to take brilliantly well. Now finds himself 61 points clear, and 75 still at the table here for Mark Cullen. If he is to make a comeback here, for now, it doesn't seem like he's going to be coming back to the table with another red. That one wasn't too comfortable, but still makes its way towards the right middle. And 62 points of a lead whilst having 67 at the table. It has been a very quick frame there by Yize, only around 10 minutes or so, and then it should be very much over and done with. 69 points of a gap, 67 at the table. One mistake for Mark Cullen. It wasn't even so much of a mistake, just a misjudgment on the shot that he's played. Fantastic double, and now 70 points later, Yize's got a frame to match out there. Once again, this is why this is going to be probably the most interesting semi-final to be watching out there of all the potential ones that we could have seen, because you've got such a great clash of styles there where, Alan is certainly going to have to try and make it as uncomfortable as he can for Yize, but on Yize's point of view, he's probably unlikely to make a century here, 77 points, and run himself out of reds out there. Still seems like he's going to try and go for the one into the green pocket, see if he's going to be able to bring that cue ball down the table, and he was, but not quite able to pop the red at the same time. So then, a really quick frame there from Yize's point of view, and he's now got himself 77 points as well, which sees him to lead Mark Cullen by 1 frame to 0 already. One minor misjudgment, and this is going to have to be the price, and this is going to have to be the standard of the general play as well. That was quick. That certainly was quick. That was blistering pace from Yize, and taking 15 seconds at most on average of those shots, and still finds himself to have a really nice line of taking 77 points away from Mark Cullen. Ultimately, the pistol couldn't really respond because there was no time for him to recharge. Now, it will be down to Yize to try and extend his lead, or for Mark Cullen to try and make it that both of the players are going to be turning up to the scene here. Just first frame, exactly. Listen, don't overreact yourself. It's going to be, even if you win the first 5 frames, it doesn't really matter massively because you'll still, going to have a chance to try and overturn that. We've seen that with Mark Cullen, we've seen that with John Higgins, and to be fair, to a certain extent, we've seen that with Yize as well, because 3 very different matches, but the very common thing about them is you can have a match which goes toe-to-toe throughout the entirety of it, and you can have a match where, you're going to be leading by 5 frames to nil against Karen Wilson, and then you're going to be all of a sudden finding yourself 6-5 down. So, anything can happen. And at the same time, those matches finished 13-9 and 13-11. So if anything, it wasn't really a massive difference between the two of them, despite such a drastic change where Yize and Mark Selby had to be trading frames, 3 frames each, 4 frames each, etc. And Mark Allen had a 5-0 lead over Karen Wilson, but that didn't stop them from having 6-all draw. Has Yize won anything significant before, or is he really a dark horse? No, I wouldn't say so, because he's managed to win the International Championship in Nanjing. He's been to a couple of finals last season. He's been to a final with Neil Robertson at the English Open. He's been to a final with Li Pei Fan at the Scottish Open. Yes, he lost both of them, but at the same time, look at what he's done this season. Yes, he didn't do anything brilliant apart from that Nanjing run that he had, but he still was very much a contender for plenty of those matches. He was in the semi-final of the Welsh, where he lost out to Hawkins, which was a very interesting match to be watching. Probably would have beaten Lisowski because of how overwhelmed he was with, the jackpot prize that he won for the Home Nations bonus. As Yize now tries to repeat the story of the previous frame, going for the red into the corner. Couldn't quite manage it on this occasion, and he's going to have to try and settle for another time there. And he still manages to bring that cue ball to be heading towards the top end of the table. And still, it's going to be down to Mark Cullen to try and play a shot of potentially trying to spread those reds away from each other. He's only 22 years old, yes. This is why, I keep telling this story out there. Last season, I had loads of stock invested in him, saying that he's going to be the next big thing before we've seen Zhao Xington, of course, in his breakthrough to the Crucible. But unfortunately for me, as Alan there tries to take a shot with so much power, that's going to leave him very much exposed to attack once again. And Yize is going to have a chance to try and take the red away into the left corner. But yeah, of course, previous season, unfortunately for me, I cashed out all of those stocks, and I was sort of saying he's way too inconsistent. Well, that was a weird red to miss. And just as I was saying about cashing out all the stocks on him, that certainly was a bad miss that he's had into the corner. The red, I'm not going to say was in the pocket, but it was difficult for you to overcut that one. And that's what he's done. Not really understanding what happened either, but Alan now has got a chance to try and take the red into the corner. As I said, he was the one that came out with statements saying that he needs to play well, and for now, he's doing anything but that. And another chance that will be left for Yize, that storms his way back towards the table and leave himself with an opportunity here. That would amazingly win at 22. Yeah, but once again, he hasn't done it yet. He's only got 1 frame on the board, and for now, he's going to have to try and treat it as 1 match at a time, at least 1 session at a time, in the best case scenario as well. Probably will be second youngest jump ever. Well, as I say, still very much 35 frames away from that being the case, and that, of course, includes with him winning every single one of that frames. Could still be down to 67 with him winning the first one and now having a decent run in frame number 2 as well. So then just having a very quick look at that miss that Mark Allen has had, and leaves himself in the position to try and take those reds away with a black. As he takes the second red away into the right corner, still positioning himself nicely for the black to be taken. And well, he's got 2 options now. Trying to play for 1 more loose red at the top end side of the table, or try and send the cue ball to be heading into a pack of reds. He's chosen the second one, and has he managed to be on anything here? It's a difficult question now, because it feels like if he's on a red, he could easily win the frame from here, but at the same time, this will take a little bit of while for him to try and put things together in relation to what is the right move here to be doing. And I'm just having a look at the red to be taken into the right middle here. Doesn't seem like he's too sort of confident about going for that type of a shot. But now he seems to be playing it. It's a massive shot, this one is. Because even though he just seems like he's not sure about taking that red away. And of course, the thing about those type of shots is that, as Stephen Hendry says, you have to be 100% committed. Otherwise, it's not worth to be taking that on. And now just analysing the potential way of, well, either leaving something away from Mark Cullen or, potentially playing a safety shot. He can do those things very rarely, but, he does play safety shots beforehand, but that was surely way too hard for you to play that type of a shot. And even before it reached anywhere near the middle pocket, you already felt like you knew what was going to happen. And the reality is, you can't really be taking, shots like that with so much power in relation to the right middle pocket. So it will be down to 16 points that he scores and gives the turn back to Mark Allen here. Trying to go for the red now into the middle. We've seen a couple of those early misses to come in. So let's see if it's going to be the third one here for Allen. And he's played that one well. Now is he going to be on the pink, trying to take it top side? And, well, it doesn't really want to be straight on this one, but he's just about fine there. And he's going to have a big bounce off the side cushion to try and play here. But still, it's as much as it's an ordinary shot, it's still the one that you have to get. And it was very important for him to try and get that one in. Now then, Mark Allen having a good chance to try and play the pink into the right middle. Make sure he's going to have the opportunity to play for the red into the right corner as well. And find himself in a position where he's going to be able to score some really good points out there as well. 9 points of a deficit for now, but still having a really decent line to try and take it further and further away from Yize, because remember, the whole reason why we had to go for that difficult shot into the right middle is because he tried to split the reds away from each other very soon. And he's done that to an extent. But of course, right now he finds himself in a position, sat in his seat, and looking for a mistake to occur from Mark Allen's point of view. It seems like for now, doesn't seem to have too many difficult shots to play, although it didn't really stop him from making a mistake here, apart from if the red goes past the blue and green into its own into the green pocket. Well, this is going to be a difficult shot there, and the first real challenge. By the way, thank you very much for the super chat. I don't know which one it was. I certainly got the little doodling message, so appreciate that. I'll have a look later on the stream as well. Appreciate that as well, massively. And yeah, now down to Mark Cullen to try and showcase his skills of trying to go for the red into its own pocket. Oh, that was close. And it's certainly going to be in. So that would be a very good shot that he's played on the blue. And he puts himself in a position to try and take the blue away into the right middle and play this shot with a little bit of power. Make sure he's got that cue ball to be rolling towards that red into the right corner. Me, thank you very much there, Faker. 3 or 3-3. Finds himself in a position of trying to take that red away into the right corner. And still trying to build on his lead. And it still seems like something is going to be disturbing him out there slightly. Maybe it was something on his cue, to be fair. Now they're going for the red into the right middle. And still trying to play for the black here. I mean, he's got such a nice red selections here in relation to all of them. But at the same time, you know, he's got a couple of problems there to try and make through the middle of this pack. So an average break of 35.9 there, which is not bad at all when it comes down to the style of play that he plays. You know, 30 plus break, 38 already that we've seen. Total points, 30 to 147. And bound to make it 32,500. And as he tries to play for the black and clearly trying to make contact with those reds, has he got a good purchase on it? Well, it's difficult to say because to me, it seems like he's going to have to go for a really difficult cut onto the left corner and make sure he will come down to a red to be taken into the left part of the table here. He will be down to a decent opportunity here to try and take the red away and make sure he's actually going to have that cue ball to be planted at the top side of the table. Has he got this one in? He has. Has he played for the colour? He certainly has done as well. Brilliant shot there by Allen. And once again, those struggles in the second frame at the starting point of it, when he had two quite bad mistakes to be witnessed. But right now, it will come down to some really good shots to be played. And ultimately, a break of 34 points and counting to go with that as well. But now just looking to see there, Yize, if there's going to be a mistake, potentially to be on his way, because for now, it seemed like it's all very, well, ordinary there for Allen. Doesn't seem to have anything else going on in his mind, just carefully looking at the way the position is set up ahead of himself and making sure he's going to try and take those shots on one-by-one basis, making sure he's got a good line here on the red. And he's got a really good, nice line, to be fair, here to try and take that cue ball for the journey on towards the side cushion. Well, that's a bit surprising. I mean, he's taking that shot so that he's going to have a committed shot into the left middle, which is a bit of a strange decision to me, because it's quite similar to the shot that we've seen, you know, a lot of players miss so far at the Crucible. Those middle pockets are not necessarily going to be playing to the player's strengths, but for now, it doesn't seem to bother Mark Allen at all. And 2 frames, are we going to see a break of 50 plus in each of them? Only the black left for that to be the case, and it'll be certainly a very high scoring start. That was close, so I have to say, playing that very close to the front jaw, but still manages to put himself to a position of taking the red away into the left middle, making sure he's got a chance to try and keep that cue ball to be heading for the black as well. Well, he doesn't seem like he's going to be happy with that one, and he'll ask the referee to certainly clean the white on this occasion. So it certainly feels like that something was wrong about it, and he's going to have to try and well, I'll certainly ask the referee, as I say, to do something about it at the same time. So it will come down to a decent opportunity to be done, and it'll be very interesting to be seeing on what's going to happen. By the way, I can see that Enemy Falcon donated €1.9. Thank you very much for the support. I appreciate that massively. So whether that was you, Faker, or you were just having a laugh, let me know as well. As the referee, it should be Marcel Edgar of Germany. So it should certainly be down to him, because Rob Spencer, I'm pretty sure, was announced to be officiating the final of the over the 2 days. So congratulations to him. It's a great honour by the referee to be officiating the biggest match in the whole season of the World Championship. Now then, 43 points is the lead. It was me, for some reason the username was different. Don't really believe that at this stage. But okay, if you're going to try and take the black away into the left corner, then you get yourself a chance to try and play for the red towards the yellow pocket. But for now, seems like he's going to have an opportunity to try and take that cue ball away, to be heading all the way for those reds. Now then, top spin, and make sure he's going to have a chance to try and stick that cue ball for the red. Well, he's done that to an extent. And has he done that at all, to be fair? Because I thought, you know, he sort of missed the black, and then the cue ball was running nicely towards the red. But now he sort of missed the black and didn't really land on the red anyway. So he will come down to a break of 59 points. And yeah, it will now be a deficit of 43 points as well from Yize's point of view. So now a chance to try and take this one. Very much with a snooker to be lined up in behind the yellow, and trying to get nicely intact in behind the cheapest of those colours here. And he will be down to Mark Allen to get himself back to the table very quickly, but of course not under circumstances that he would have liked to see himself with, because now he finds himself at a position where he's going to have to be now or never there, to the extent, because he still finds himself very much comfortable in relation to those points. But when it comes to 59 at the table, it's going to have to be a bit of a problem there, especially if you've got someone like Yize to try and chase you down. Which one of those 4 reds is he going to try and roll up to? Because he needs to try and use that black strategically. Surely he's got to be doing that with the left corner to have in mind, because that one is going to be covered up. So if you play that shot very much off the ball cushion, then this is something that he's looking at. And into the 2 of those reds, I mean, if you push one onto another, as long as you don't play that shot with too much power, or you get sort of on the right hand side of the red, which is possible, but it's a risk that you have to be committed to. You know, just whatever you do, make sure you don't play a shot well. He's trying to take it towards the red onto the black ball spot. This is going to be close. Doesn't want to get around it, and he will get around it. How much power there is going to be? Not enough is the answer. So I would expect the shot to be replaced, and very much the cue ball to come back into the previous position. So back towards Yize here to be taken, and he will come down to very much his decision to make. And he's got a chance to try and make his way towards the red of 3 cushions. So yeah, if this shot is going to be played very much with great power, then should have a chance to try and do that off 2 cushions. Now, seems like it's going to be a lot closer, and there will be a contact to be made with that red. So the question is, can Yize try and do something with that black to be taken out of the pocket and the red to go into the pocket at the same time? For now, it will be very much interesting to be looking at this angle, because normally you could say you can try and go for a double here, but especially after what he's done in the first frame. But it probably will come down to a decent opportunity of playing a cross double here. Try and leave that cue ball to be at the top, not really the top hand side of the table, because it won't have enough power. So yeah, probably a cross double doesn't really work here. Unless you try and take that cue ball to be heading up the table, down the table, and then up again. But that takes it out of control in relation to the red. Surely you just have to try and give it a nice little nudge towards the right side cushion and make sure you play that cue ball to be heading to the top edge of it as well. Of course, because of Mark Allen missing out on a black to be taken into the corner, now you can try and sort of slow the game down here and make sure that whatever happens, there's going to have to be a brilliant chance that Yize takes, and apart from that, you'll have to come down to an opportunity to be taken. Well, is Allen going to try and squeeze that red past the black, or is he going to try and play a cross double of it? Well, tell you what, either one, he hasn't played the shot too well, and he needs that blue to come to his rescue. And it seemed like he's actually done that well. He hasn't done that quite. He hasn't done that quite yet here, and he will be the room available for Yize to try and cue this one into the corner. Make sure he's got a chance of trying to take that red away into the right hand side of the table. And look at the way that he's cued that one as well. Brilliantly played there by the player from China, and he's still going to be very much in there with a chance to try and make it a steal against Mark Allen, because apart from the two reds, of course, he's taken one of them now, and he's going to have three more reds ahead of himself. Two of them to be in the open play, and one more to be very much close to the right side cushion as well. So if you play the shot with a little bit of topspin, get yourself lined up with a chance to be taking that red into the right corner, and then play for the black as well. Be very much down to a decent opportunity into the right corner to be taken, and yeah, the shot on the backspin can be played into the side cushion, but at the same time, you'll probably be down to trying to drop that cue ball in behind of the red, take it into the right corner, and making sure you will come down to a black to be taken, and then the red to follow it up, because it's quite interesting short selection there for him, because ideally you want to try and cannon that red away from from the side cushion, but here not really going to be one of those type of situations there. He just needs to try and roll this red in, leave that cue ball to be lined up for the black, and he's trying to play this one with a little bit of power as well, which leaves him even better lined up for this frame. Very much to be, well, done and dusted there, you would feel, because now he's got absolutely nothing to try and separate himself from winning 2 frames on the bounce, because he's about to take the black away into the corner of the table. That leaves him with being 15 points behind, and now 8 more shots to be taken, and then he will come down to a really good steal of a frame from Yize to perform. And once again, Mark Allen saying that he needs to try and come out playing better snooker than the likes of Yize, and try and do better than what he's done against the likes of John Higgins and Mark Selby. For now, even though it could still be another jouncing turn against Sean Murphy, well, we've seen that 3-frame deficit to be overcome very quickly. Right now, it's going to be a different sort of a match, but of course it's going to be even more in the favour of Mark Allen, because he has only got 2 frames that he's lost on a bounce, and now he's going to have to try and come back with this one either. But of course, he still needs to try and pop 4 more colours here as he gets himself lined up for the green to be taken into its own pocket. Make sure he's going to have plenty of backspin to go onto that, and just carefully try and position himself for the brown to be taken into the yellow pocket. So it will come down to 53 points here. That plays 59, so it still could come back with a break of 55 points, which of course will see 2 breaks of 50 plus in a single frame out there. But ultimately, it does come down to the blue, which will take him 3 points clear, and then the pink to take him 9 points clear with only the black to be available. It does seem like Yize has found his form quite badly here, and he's going to find himself to try and take the pink away as well here, to make sure he doesn't have to do anything with the black as well, and try and make it over towards the finish line. And he will come down to a decent opportunity. He's going to try and pot the black as well, which I've actually figured out why they don't always do that. But at the same time, if you're going to have a foul, there the black, of course, gets respotted, and that will be a little bit of a different case scenario, and it still is here. Listen, he certainly is here, and I'll tell you who's here again. Yize, with a break of 55 points. He hasn't managed to do the first time of asking with that break of 16 points, and then Mark Allen still helped on slightly by the fact of being unable to get himself out of a snooker situation, but the final long red that he's taken was really, really good play. And now it comes down to Yize having 2 frame of a gap in relation to Mark Allen. And could it be another semi-final, just like it was against Higgins, just like it was against Selby? Because it's the first time we're going to see that against the likes of Yize, and he certainly feels like he's got himself into a really nice position here, having a 2-0 cushion. 2 breaks to 50 plus already of 55 and 77, and so far the only break in the match for Mark Allen is going to be a value of 59 points exactly. So very interesting on what we've seen so far, but at the same time, is he going to be the start of something special from Yize's point of view, or is Mark Allen going to be able to try and put himself right back in the mix very much straight away out there? For now, it's difficult to say, but it feels like the opening 2 frames have gone very, very quickly. Something like 15 minutes for the 2 of them in relation to per frame, and half an hour since the match has got underway. And now we're already approaching the, the 3rd frame and potentially the mid-session interval, not to be too far away from us. And ultimately, as I say, speaking of high breaks, what's the highest break of the World Championship for now? I've seen so few matches, cannot say, pretty sure to be 140. Yes, you are correct. Unless I've missed something, and I'm going to check it on the website. But I'm pretty sure Mark Allen has got 2 breaks of 140, as well as Mark Williams has got 1 of those as well. So this is what I was making a joke there, that, without Mark Williams, Mark Allen will have to share the price with for the highest break with himself. Yeah, for now, it is Mark Allen twice in round 1, in round 2. Then it's not Mark Williams, by the way. It's Sean Murphy in round 1 against Fang Jingyi, and then it's Barry Hawkins in the quarterfinals against Mark Allen, of course. Then it's Gary Wilson of 138 and 139. Mark Allen of 138. I mean, I tell you what, for the player that doesn't seem to score that many century breaks, of course, he's made 700 centuries against Hawkins. He's got a break of, let's have a look there at Mark Allen, because he seems to be the one sticking out there. He's got 129 points. I mean, let's go from the beginning. 104. He's got a break of 109. 129 here as well. So 104, 109, 129, 131, 138, 140, and 140 again. I tell you what, I mean, Yize seems to have found his match here in relation to what's happening here around him. Now, it's a break-off shot there by Yize, which leaves a long red available for Mark Allen, and that one was taken brilliantly well. And I'll tell you what, just speaking of centuries, that was crisp for Mark Allen. And look at where the red is finished. Look at where the cube was finished on the green as well. Now he seems to be not messing around at all. He seems to have realised that he could be very much under a little bit of pressure there to find himself pretty quickly, and trying to make sure that he will be down to a bit of high scoring to show for his name as well. Some steal by Wu. Allen on 59 and missed difficult black due to bad positioning. Yes, true. That was very much true. And, he felt like it was impossible for him to lose that frame because of how awkwardly he left the black. But despite that being the case, Yize was able to break that deadlock. And now Allen once again needs to try and steady the position here. He seems to have just about done that, but it's still not going to be quite as easy as it could have been to be taking the red away into the right corner and try and position himself to be taking the red into the right hand side of the table, so that if you try and play this shot with so much power, you're not really going to be able to control the pace of the white. So you may as well try and keep it for the black for one more shot there, and then once that is out of the way, you can sort of either trust in your ability to play the shot for the reds into the left corner, or of course it could be down to, oh, he's missed the red. Wow, that certainly wasn't something that I was planning to say. And the referee got a little bit dirty out there, and in relation to, he was about to take the rest away from Mark Allen, and he sort of snubbed him there a little bit. But you can see in the background, Yize didn't expect to be coming back to the table, but he certainly is going to be rushing towards it now. A break of just 12 points, but ultimately, what can Yize do here? the pink is out of play. The black is going to be covered up safely by those reds, certainly into the left corner here. Maybe different story into the right corner, to be fair, but right now it's difficult to say if you can go for that red into the left corner. Of course, the red that Mark Cullen has missed now has gone safe. So, yeah, he should be down to an opportunity to be taken into the left corner. Is he going to try and play that one away with a little bit of topspin here? I mean, of course, it's difficult to try and play the very accurate and precise shot into the gap of those two reds. Trying to make sure he's going to be playing for the blue here. And yeah, he wasn't worth to be taking on a shot like that, to be fair. And he's played it badly, though. He's played it really badly. And, you know, the same red that he's cannoned, trying to put that one safe. He sort of left that one to be available here to the right middle. So Mark Cullen right now is going to fancy his chances to try and take this one away, to make sure he's got a chance to try and make it exactly the same way as he was in the previous frame, but now try and score more than 59 and 12 points. Is the red going to be in once again? So far, it is turning to be a trademark shot there from Mark Cullen, because he certainly managed to make it twice in a row out there. And now, after a bit of a cheap mistake, and of course being lucky of not leaving a chance away for Yize, despite playing for the colour, you know, now it will come down to a second opportunity to come to him as well. And a chance of trying to score the green here. And once again, doesn't seem like it's going to be happy with the cue ball at all. Whether it's going to be down to the cloth, whether it's going to be down to something else. You know, maybe just not happy with the equipment or the way that he's striking the ball. You know, just maybe miss here. As he throws that cue in the air, you can see on the replay. So, yeah, it seems to have been doing that a lot throughout the tournament, to be fair. And, of course, it's usually a sign, you know, if you miss hitting the shot quite badly or missing out on the pot completely. But for Mark Cullen, it just always seems to be a very recurring pattern of him asking the referee to clean the white after that, with clearly feeling that, you know, the contact point of the Q-tip and the white wasn't heading as planned out there. Now, is he going to have to try and play for the shot into the left corner? Once again, I mean, the problem with 2-0 of a deficit, he needs to be taking risks here. And he's taken one. And is he going to be on the colour, though? Well, he's not going to be on the yellow. He's not going to be on the brown. And that is probably the only place at the table where he could have finished and not be on the colour there. He tried to cannon on the red to be heading out of the way. He's played that shot pretty well, but in relation to the cue ball to be heading all that way for the ball colours, you know, he's got the brown to be out of position, and the yellow, if you try and take that one away into the right middle, it's going to be anything but a simple shot there for you to try and take on. So then, a decision to be made here. Can he try and pot that yellow into the right middle? Or is it going to be a bit of a different story and very much down to a safety shot of your choice to play? I mean, he's got a shot on the blue, but I mean, that one, he's certainly going to be, well, probably sensing desperation, I would say, because it's a difficult shot for you to take on. And if you miss it, he's going to have a really good chance for Yize to try and take control of the position. Well, he's made the blue in, but where's he going to be positioning in relation to those reds? And the answer is he's going to be perfectly on them. And now, finally trying to threaten the way of taking at least one of those frames away from Yize. You know, after losing out on the previous two, now he finds himself in a position of trying to take that cue ball on a string and still position himself nicely for the black here. So he will come down to a shot on the black to be played with a little bit of backspin, and make sure that tip on the white is going to be working out perfectly well for Mark Cullen, as he now puts himself 30 points clear and still having a really nice line of trying to take this particular frame away from Yize. You know, it does seem like it will come down to a decent opportunity here to be taken his way. And now a break of 19 points and counting. So tries to make it on the blue, and still having a look at the blue to be taken here. Sorry, the stream has frozen on me. I don't know what happened. And yeah, very weird. It's very weird. I mean, it's frozen, and it tells me that he cannot refresh the page. Have you Is that just me? Because he hasn't done that out of nowhere, and he forces you to try and take a different route to it. Apologies for that, but I'm gonna have to try and do this one again. So just trying to take it away there and make sure that it will work on this occasion. But yeah, it's a bit of a weird one because it hasn't happened before like that. And yeah, it does seem like the whole broadcasting thing for WSD has gone, because I can see on the other stream as well, it's got exactly the same thing to be played out there as well. So this will take a little bit of time. I'm trying to refresh the page, and still no change to be made, at least for now. So let me know if you do actually see that one away. And yeah, no, still frozen on stream for me. So it just seems like it's going to be stuck at exactly the same point. Don't really understand what's going on there, but all the cameras, all the broadcast, seem like that has gone completely wrong out there. So yeah, I'm going to have to try and switch over to the website to tell you what's going to happen with points-wise, because they're still going to have those points available, but at the same time, probably be a different story in relation to the way to try and treat the situation. But yeah, that's certainly the first time it's happened. I know it's happened beforehand with the International Championship, but surely I would have thought, the equipment of the Crucible was going to be slightly stronger than that. And, we're going to have to wait and see what's going to happen here. But for now, it will be a little break. Technical fault, and we come back to you as soon as the resolution is going to appear. For now, I'm just going to restart the whole thing. I hope that helps. Right then, people, so I'm back, but still, it doesn't seem like there is going to be a very clear resolution because apparently the BBC coverage has gone down, so the WST coverage is down as well. And one thing I can tell you is a break of 91 points from Mark Allen as he puts himself to be very much a frame clear of, well, in relation to trying to get himself on the score sheet, but listen, I've still got absolutely no clue on what happened, and I've got absolutely no idea how you're supposed to be doing this one, but just having a wide angle on the TNT is the only way that it seemed like this actually is going to work for. The Eurosport studio is still here, but the BBC coverage is going to be down, so how long that's going to be down to, I'll have to wait and see, and then as soon as I've got that one back update, because for now, I just have to be doing that with a score sheet, so I refreshed. Is it working for you, Letitia? I'm about to try and refresh as well. Let me just try and log in my details, because it was pretty weird. Nope, to me, it's still very much frozen on 31 points for Mark Allen, and that was the point that he sort of stopped that break. So apologies for that, there's not a lot you can do. Cable TV Oslo lost picture, there you go. So yeah. It just seemed like it's a little bit weird. Apologies for that. There's not a lot you can do, and we're just going to have to be doing that with Eurosport. But listen, the best thing about it, let's have a look at what McManus is going to have to say. Yeah, so McManus is now actually saying there is going to be an issue out there. So, yeah, there is going to be a delay until we get this one over the board. So, there's going to be basically an intermission now of 3 frames. So I'm not sure if they're going to have another one after 4 frames as well. But, yeah, just trying to sort out all the issues and make sure that we will be up and underway. So, yeah, it's still very much down to an opportunity there for Allen and Yize to make their way out of the arena for now. Tennis here on Eurosport. And yeah, I've got this one to be very much heading on TNT for me. But yeah, listen, it's one of those problems there that, you know, if you got TNT to be working, I do wonder how, you know, you're going to have BBC coverage not to be working out. But yeah, of course, you haven't got the main camera to be functioning. You haven't got anything else to be working as well, so it's just, you know, a nice little outside picture there showing Mark Allen and trying to make his way towards the, well, very much the main part of the table as well. For now, it does come down to a decent opportunity, and yeah, as I say, it's still very much stuck on 31 points for Mark Allen. Allen off the block and with some brilliant shots too. Yes, I mean, I'm not going to say some brilliant shot because I haven't seen any of it. You know, only seen the break of 20 points that he had at the starting point of it. But at the end stage, you know, the break of 91 is the highest that we've seen of it. So, you know, it does seem like the Reds are about to come back to the table. So, yeah, you're going to have probably a couple of minutes to wait until we're going to get the players to be very much back, and hopefully the snooker will continue on without any more interruptions. As just going to show a bit of a recap of what happened beforehand. A really good block there from Yize to be taken into the right corner, and once again he was able to recover with a nice shot as well into the right corner that he's played, making sure that he's got that cue ball around the angles. And of course that was the point where he had a break of 77 points. Now taking that blue really well, making sure that he's going to try and get in behind of the red, taken into the left middle, and to try and stay on the blue for a couple of more shots. And then of course this was a very important shot there, but this one was basically what he's trying to do in the second frame. Didn't quite work out in the second, but this time, you know, he had so many of those reds to be in perfect positioning. This was probably the least comfortable point of the first frame, trying to take the red away into the right middle whilst being 61 points clear. And Mark Allen didn't have anything to do with the first couple of frames. There we go. We've got the coverage to be back on. Brilliant news. So let me just try and once again refresh all things, because that will just make that stream to start working again. So, well, listen, the technology is not perfect, and that's the only thing that matters. You know, it wasn't too long at the end, and now it will come down to a decent chance to try and make things right. And when it comes to Mark Allen, listen, when you're 2-0 down in the first of 17 match, he may as well just be starting it from square one anyway, but the fact that he had such a good frame to try and win it away from Yize, he certainly puts him into a good position now to try and make it past getting off the line, off the score sheet, and now just looking to try and very much make it down towards a shot to be played. And I'm not too sure the scoreline is not here. You know, the Reds and the main camera is certainly going to show on what's going to be happening around the table, as we still welcome very much Mark Allen and the referee to come back to the table. I'm not sure if we're going to have the likes of, you know, Yize that have stayed in the arena as well. For now, you'll be down to the referee to try and calm the crowd down and make sure you will be down to the fourth break here to start. So then, it's a break-off shot by Mark Allen. I still can't see the scoreboard, so I have to be doing that manually off the tools. And hopefully that we don't end up with 200 points. Where can I see live stream? Well, it's a good question right now, but, you know, you're not going to be able to see it here. Now then, it's a Yize that comes back to the table, trying to take his own shot here. Take that red away into the left corner of the table, and make sure that, once again, he's using that frame of a lead that he has very much to his advantage nicely, and getting himself through to a chance to be lined up for the black. That red didn't quite make the target, and, well, I mean, that was the risk that he was actually committed to, which is surprising to me. He's had to surely play that shot a little bit more carefully. So, once again, Mark Allen there, just getting a little cup of water there, but a crowd certainly enjoyed that, as you would expect in Sheffield. They certainly thought he wasn't down to just water, and, you know, they're going to be worried a little bit that he won't be able to pass the doping test after the match, but, of course, it's all fun and games, and it would have been only water for him to try, and, well, sometimes get himself a little bit warmer. It depends on what it's going to be in Sheffield, and for now, it's a good red that he's taken. I mean, the fact that Yize left him with such a great variety to be taken into the left middle, into the right corner, whilst trying to play for the black was a little bit questionable, to say the least, but ultimately it will come down to a shot on the green here to be taken, and make sure the white is going to come towards the left side cushion. Try and make sure he got himself a chance of playing for those reds to be taken into the corner. Hot drinkers, hand warmer. Yeah, I mean, he's done that so many times, to be fair, that I feel like we're getting through to the summer, though. It's nearly May. It's going to be May tomorrow, and it will come down to probably an opportunity of which, you know, it will be down to a chance there for Mark Allen to try and warm himself down in the winter, but doing that in the, you know, pretty much next to the summer is going to be a bit of a questionable thing, to say the least, as he now takes that black away and makes it down to a break of 12 points. Still positioning himself nicely for the red to be taken into the right corner. He's got a couple of points to try and score here, but ultimately I would say trying to make sure he's going to have a line of taking the black away into the right corner certainly would help, because if he finds himself in a position of trying to go for the black and place that cue ball to be heading into those reds, he still needs to try and make sure he's going to keep control of the white and play for the red. Ooh, I mean, nearly missed the black to me, but, you know, that was a bit of a weird, maybe it was a camera shake or something like that, but he seemed like he missed the black by a mile, but in the end it came straight into the heart of the pocket there. So then 20 points of a lead. If you trust the score sheet, which you should at this stage, ultimate winner from this semis winner. Yeah, it should, to be fair. And for wow, that's a bad miss from Allen. I mean, that's a shocker of a miss that he's played into the corner. I don't know if we're going to be able to see the replay with the technology being down, but you're probably going to have to say that you will be down to a red here available for Yize, and completely out of nothing and nowhere. It seemed like Allen just lost composure a little bit, whether he was not really able to just concentrate on that shot enough there, whatever he was, lapse of concentration, you know, or anything else he was down to. Now a shot on the black for Yize to try and open up those reds and make sure he's going to be the player to try and get himself through to a couple of points to be scored. Has he played this shot well enough, or he spotted the reds alongside the black? But has he left anything to be available for Mark Allen? Well, wasn't quite going to plan there for Yize, and it's a single point of a break that he has. And then, of course, Mark Allen now is going to come back to the table with 7 points that he's going to get. out of that particular shot. Now finds himself 26 points clear, and yeah, just still having a look at 115 points ahead of himself. What is this going to come down to? Can he cut this red into the corner? He seems like he can, because he's thinking about it for a while. But is he going to be able to try and leave that cue ball to be on the collar? Well, the answer seems to be negative, so is he still going to try and cut this red in? It's a difficult shot, that. He probably doesn't go for it in the previous frame. If he makes it, surely he's going to be the frame winner. If he misses it, he better not miss it. And he's made it. Now, where's the cue ball going to finish? It's not going to be on a collar nicely, but it's still going to be just about lined up for the blue here to be taken. So Alan manages to survive the scare of missing out on the red. He's managed to cannon plenty of those to be in the open play as well. And now it comes back to a chance here on the blue to be taking this one away. And make sure he's still... There we go. The scoreboard is back and underway, as he now manages to get that blue into the green pocket and push himself to be on the red here as well. Some really good shots there that we've seen. And there we go, the scoreboard is gone again. So he was up there for a couple of seconds. But ultimately, as I say, we've got our own scoreboard here. And he's now 34 plays won there in favour of Mark Allen, as he's got a current break of 7 points exactly, looking to try and equal his fourth highest break of 12 points achieved in the previous frame, before that ultimate break of 91 points was scored. Now then trying to play for the Reds lower down the table, which is going to be a great chance for him. You know, he was able to utilise that position, inherited, the one that he inherited from Yize. And once again, the scoreboard is going to be back and underway. So, having a look at the pink that he can try and take into the right middle, ultimately probably would come down to a shot on the blue that he plays. Because if he gets this one to be 39 points clear, then he's going to have something like 91 points ahead of him. Well, as much as it's not going to be easy for him, but achieve the best of the result here as well. Trying to go for the red. Well, is he trying to take the Blants away into the corner? He's played that one well, but has he overrun for the blue to be taken into the right middle? Seems like he's done that pretty well. And at the end stage, it will come down to a blue here to be taken into the right middle. Try and play this shot with a little bit of topspin and make sure he's going to have a chance of, trying to stick that cue ball onto plenty of those reds that he managed to cannon into the open play. Now, 18 points of a break, and trying to make sure he's going to have a chance of playing for the red into the left corner. Tries to carefully take that cue ball away towards the pink and the blue here. He's going to have a chance to try and take this frame without any more issues, because that was exactly something that he's managed to achieve in the previous frame as well, making sure that he won't be down to 3-0 of a deficit for him to try and overcome. And now a break of 19 points here in this particular frame leaves him, well, pretty comfortably in relation to the way that he's got those reds to be set up. He's about to give a little nudge to the pink as well. And he will come down to 50 points of a lead, 83 at the table, and still getting a really good run of trying to take the red away into the left corner. Let's see if he's going to be able to do that with the cue ball and just carefully take it through the shot on the side cushion. He's done that quite well, and still able to try and keep that cue ball to be pointing in the right direction for the blue. So there are 51 points of a gap. He needs one more red and a collar, and then he should be more than 59 points clear. And then he'll come down to a frame ball to be done. Mini break will be welcomed by Wu. Hold Alan charge and regroup himself. Well, I'll tell you what, it's not going to be happening here. And you'll probably come down to a chance to be taking the red away into the right corner. If he's going to be able to try and play for the black, that's going to be great. By the way, who's playing on tennis? Who's playing on tennis, Latish? I've just realised your message there, Latish, on Eurosport. If you could tell me who's playing on tennis, it will be highly appreciated. But I'm only messing with you. If you can, please do. But if you can't, I'll just check that in the intermission break. A bit of a weird shot there from Alan. I mean, he's over the finish line. Tennis should be all finished, to be fair. Unless you're going to have the Zverev against Kaboli. Is that the way you say it? The fourth quarter-final. And yeah, he should be taking the red away into the left corner. But, I mean, it's a bit weird how he's played through that black into the right corner. He's still able to get the red in. Yes, he's not going to be on the yellow, although he may be. I mean, he's cannon that one full ball, and he's still going to get the position on the brown or yellow to choose from. But it's really nice breaks there, you know. 20, 39, 91 there to try and finish the first mini session away. Certainly the way to try and do it there for Mark Cullen. Able to make sure he's not going to be 3 or 4 frames down. And now finds himself in a position to try and take this one away from Yize in relation to making it back to a score draw. We've seen that with Sean Murphy and John Higgins to finish off at 4 frames each. Now, with only just about more than an hour, we're about to finish 4 frames away in this encounter as well. And put it down to a break of 49 points and counting here for Mark Cullen, as he tries to take away a double. Zverev versus Kaboli 6-1. I'm going to thank you very much, Ramin. I tell you what, Zverev is actually playing quite well in Madrid. And now a chance to try and double that red into the corner, but in the end, that won't be the case. And Allen is not going to be messing around or staying for too long. He's about to leave for that intermission to try and get every single sec of it. So it does seem like, you know, that early gap that Yize had of 2 frames to nil is not really going to lead to anything, because now Mark Cullen finds himself to be in a position of coming back very, very strong, and he now leaves himself with the scoreline to be 2 frames each. A very quick first 4 frames, and hopefully the standard of play is going to be kept very much to the standard that we have seen and the players have managed to showcase so far, because it's been great to watch, some really good breaks, and for now, Yize is probably going to be a little bit of a disappointment. Don't know who Kaboli is, but Master 1000. Nah, I mean, he's the world number 13. I'm pretty sure he managed to defeat the guy that I don't want to be talking about in the previous round, and especially the country that he represents. So it's a really good win by Kaboli, and I was actually watching that match as well. So, yeah, he should be the world number 13, as much as Zverev should be able to take him away there. But, you know, Zverev's biggest problem is probably going to come down to, you know, trying to challenge the likes of Sinner. I know Alcaraz is going to be out with the injury, but anyway, listen, it's all about the snooker, and we'll be back with the snooker in 50 minutes time to see whether it will be a bit of a Mark Cullen show for us to be seeing, or is it going to be very much Yize to try and steal the scene again and make it back to a significant advantage for him to be taking on into the next session as well. Stay tuned in, 15 minutes intermission, as it's a really quick start to this first session of the second semi-final.
There's a distance between us. It's getting hard to reach out. Haven't seen you in seasons, but all I hear is your voice. I know my limits, you can break me down, but I'll stay till the finish line. And I've been counting minutes for quite some time now, just to see you again. And I've been counting days to get away, to see you again, see you again. Been finding ways to get away, to see you again, see you again. We got millions of reasons to let it all go. Hope we're not too broken. I know I'm not always strong. And I've been counting days to get away, to see you again, see you again. Been finding ways to get away, to see you again, see you again. Eyes in the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you, 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 won't you let the light shine through? In the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you, for you, for you, for you, for you, for you, for you,
Now then, everybody, the intermission is almost over. We've got the grandstand, which is going to be packed once again. And let's see, is it going to be Yize to try and take some sort of a lead into the frame number, well, number 9, of course, in the second session. But for now, it certainly is going to be the most important factor of all of them, is that what are we going to see? Are we going to see the first 2 frames to be very much there once again from Yize, to be playing some great snooker, not leaving a chance away for Mark Allen at all? Or is he going to be a bit of a different story where Allen is certainly going to be the player that, you know, sort of blows the doors off this match, which once again we have seen during a couple of those occasions in frames number 3 and 4, hoping that there's not going to be any more delays or any sort of problems there. We have seen either of those to have been already in place with the World Championship. 5-3 either way. Listen, the most important thing is that the match so far has been played in really good spirit, and long may continue. For now, just waiting for the players to come back from the left corner, and then he will come down to a really good line there for him. Once we're in the final, what a great style of play, 22 years old. Well, let's see if that's going to be the case. For now, it doesn't look too bad for him to try and, you know, get an early start in this session. But, of course, he finds himself to be in a position where he's still going to have to win a couple of frames on the bounce beforehand. He won't really be able to be considered as a real threat for this campaign to be finishing in his favour as well. As now we're almost ready to get the match back underway. The players are making their way towards the table. It's Yize's break-off shot, and then he'll come down to the turn to be given to Mark Allen, and once again he will be back down to, well, a showdown for the first chance, because so far those chances have been really effective for both of the players. And so he's going to be back to Yize here. I mean, is it going to be back to Mark Allen, I should say, after Yize has had his break-off shot. We've seen that in frame number 3. That hasn't worked out too well for him, where Allen had a chance to try and take the red. He decided not to be doing that, but at the end stage, you know, still seems like he was able to take that one away pretty nicely in relation to winning the frame with, so far, the highest break of the match of 91 points exactly. So then now having a look to see if it's going to be worth for him to try and take the red away into the left corner. Of course, it does, you know, leaving the impression of the red that Yize has missed in the 4th frame, and still putting himself under pressure at that stage. Now then he's gone for it, he's missed it by a mile, and he's going to have that cue ball to be rolling into the pocket, who will. That's going to be disappointing there for Allen, because of the red probably getting over the left middle pocket, and yeah, now he's certainly not going to be happy with the way that he's cued that one. Whether it will be down to a miscue or anything like that, but once again, just seems like he's not happy with it, and then it will come down to disappointment for Allen. But at the same time, the cue ball is going to have to be dropped. Therefore, a ball in hand is going to be given over to Yize, and that's going to be the best possible start for him. And Allen is a dangerous player and will got to be on point. Well, for now, certainly has been the story of the previous 4 frames, and Yize so far managed to respond in the opening 2 as well. Now trying to get himself to be taking the black away into the right corner. So far, every single time he had a chance to try and go really deep into the frame, he's done that quite well. Is it going to be another story like it, or is it going to have to be a bit of a different story to tell this time around here, as he's looking to try and go for the black for now into the right corner. Make sure he's going to have a decent opportunity to try and play that one away, and nicely into the corner pocket. For now, it just seems like he's about to be taking the black away for one more time, but it's once again, it's one of those things where, you know, he's going to have to try and deal with the easy reds first, and then position himself nicely to be taking the more difficult ones away from the table. For now, still, he's got a really nice chance to try and build some really nice points here on the board in relation to 21 that he scores, 17 points on the break, and ultimately just having a chance to try and take those, take the cue ball into the reds, try and take them away from each other, and ultimately make sure he's going to have a chance to try and bring more reds into the open of the table, and he's done that well. I mean, the problem is he put a couple of reds to be in the open play, but one of them has compromised the second red, so, you know, it seemed like he still managed to get 3 of those in the open play, which leaves him down to a decent opportunity here to try and take some good points on the board here. And once again, one thing about Yize is that he's not going to be messing around with time taken in between those shots. So if he gets himself in a nice opportunity, he's going to be very much in a great line to try and take that opportunity as well. Now they're just looking to see on how much is there going to be available to him of those reds at the right part of the table. So just trying to play the black into the left corner probably will help his case. And, let's see if he's going to try and play it into those reds and try and get even more of those to be stuck in the open. Well, for now, he may actually be playing for a plan to be taken into the corner because, he played that cue ball into a zone where there's not going to be any loose reds available. So then, a plant of reds right underneath the pink to be taken into the corner. He's played that one pretty well in relation to getting the plant in, but at the same time, he's on the run for the black slightly. So let's see if he's going to have an opportunity to try and go for the black away into the right corner. Just moves the chalk a little bit and still make sure that he's going to have it. This guy is not easy. The one that he's left himself with. And has he played it a little bit too close to the front jaw? No, he's played that one a little bit perfectly well, if you want to say it. And he's going to stay on the break of 44 points. Just making sure he's going to be able to tuck in shirt there to make sure he doesn't have the same issue as Chris Wakelin at the Gibraltar Open. If you know, you know. Just carefully playing for a red to be taken away from the main bunch to make sure he's going to stay on the black here to be taken. And of course, for now, he's been going for all reds and all blacks on the break of 41 points. Ignore the 45 that he has. That's going to be down to a foul shot on Mark Cullen's point of view. And even though for now he's going to be looking, that was a huge bounce on the white. Of course, that was within the rules because he didn't overjump the black or anything, but that's certainly going to generate plenty of power. And now he's still trying to stay on those reds and black combinations. So 48 as it stands, 6 reds taken, 6 blacks taken as well. About to make it 7 reds and 6 blacks, and just carefully try and get himself lined up with another shot here on the black to be taken into the right corner. Make sure he's going to have plenty of action on the cue ball, as ideally, if you want to try and play those shots for the black, you have to be very much on the top side of those reds pretty much every single time you do those type of shots. And in relation to the way that he's got those reds to be positioned, there's nothing impossible here about this break. As long as he keeps his concentration, for now it's probably going to be one of the best lineups for the maximum that you can possibly imagine. Yes, he's going to have a couple of reds to be slightly out of position in terms of them not being perfect, but you're never going to have all 15 of them to be perfect. And for now, he's about to be halfway there when it comes to those reds. 15 shots taken out of 36 that he needs. And, if you ignore 6 color clearance, which should be taken for granted, you just have to try and make sure he will come down to a shot here. As you can see, there's, that person in the audience is not going to be shown for no reason. I'm pretty sure that's going to be the person that, of course, will get a potential shot. Ooh. Wow. That is a horrible timing. That is a horrible timing for that person. And you do have to feel for them because, you will be greatly disappointed. As soon as they were shown on the TV, Yize's surprise, that was very much down to a bitter disappointment. And how on earth did he overcut that black by so much of a margin? And now he's left Mark Cullen in with a chance to try and take those reds away and make sure that not only it's not going to be a maximum, of course, but also it could come down to not being a frame win at all. Well, that's disappointment because, of course, you do that per session. And it's going to be a very, very bitter disappointment there. But, of course, one thing is that you have to make sure you don't overreact and you have to make sure you don't over-try to get you feeling that it's actually going to be done there without, the position was nice, but in the end point, cube on the scoring zone after missing the black. Yeah, it was certainly, but, it's now going to be down to a chance here for Mark Cullen to try and, take those 75 points that he's got available ahead of himself away from Yize here. It's difficult to tell whether he's got the 2 reds next to the pink here to be potable, one after another, but if they are, then you'll be down to a decent opportunity to try and take it away in relation to the way for you to try and take the pink into the left corner and then make sure that it will come down to a shot to be taken here on the next couple of reds as well. For now, it seems like he's just trying to play it safe, and he's about to take the red closest to the right side cushion here. Make sure he's going to have a decent opportunity to try either one of those away. Ideally wants to play the one further away from the cushion, but at the same time needs to make sure he doesn't put the other red to be too close towards the side cushion. He's done that. Now is he going to have a chance to play for the pink? Because he probably needs to be doing that. Otherwise he'll find himself to be way too far away from those reds and having to play a really nice shot on the blue. Well, it's decision time now for Mark Allen, because he still finds himself in a decent position of trying to take those type of shots away. And if he's able to do that with the pink or blue, then he'll certainly be a great favourite of trying to take this frame away from Yize's point of view as well. And for now, he seems to have found himself in the position of, just having too much to do here at this stage. And is he going to be down to a chance here that he plays on the pink to be taken? And it seems like, once again, after what we've seen in the previous couple of frames, he will be down to those too many shots there to play in the end for Yize. And even though he scored, of course, 61 points at the end, with that foul shot of Mark Allen, 57 of his own break, unforeseen error by Wu when he seems to be cruising, especially with how, straightforward that black was to him. But, Allen is not quite over the finish line here yet, so he's going to have to try and keep that break going for him. He's taken a good red away into the left corner, and now positioning himself nicely to be taking the pink into the left corner as well. So it seems like he's not going to be entirely happy with the way that he's got those couple of reds to be lined up. And at the end stage, not too sure if that's going to come down to still be a bit of a problem for him at the end stage of the break, as he now plays the pink carefully into the left corner. But it does seem like he's leaving it very much down to the wire in relation to those two more reds. And he needs some really good shots here to try and play. Tournament red spot success 82%. So just needs to make sure the red is going to finish at the right corner of the table. Oh, he's missed that one. Wow, that's a bad miss. And where's the red going to finish? Yize probably only needs one more red and a colour combination. That is a really weird miss from Mark Allen. And, Yize is going to be storming back to the table. As much as it wasn't the easiest shot on the rest, you still would have fancied Mark Allen to bury that one away. And now, what can Yize see in relation to the red to be taken into the corner, the one that Mark Allen has missed? Well, the fact that he hasn't taken the shot may suggest that he can't see anything. Is he going to go for a plant? It's risky. It's very risky indeed. Is he going to make this one in? No, he won't. And where the red's going to finish, the cue ball is going to go towards the left corner. One of the reds is going to go towards the green pocket, and ultimately it causes a little bit of chaos, but at the same time, it's going to be a little bit of control as well. Well, that was always looking wide there from Yize. I'm not sure what he was trying to achieve there, and guilty of similar offence in the past. The problem with Yize just trying to go for those plans that weren't really there for him. And now, yes, it's not quite as straightforward of a position as it was for Mark Allen at the previous visit to the table, but still, you'd fancy him to be the favourite now to try and take this frame away. As soon as the red into the right corner will be very much in the pocket, which he should do. It's not the cut that you would expect him to miss, and he wasn't going to miss the shot like that. Now, is he going to be lined up for the blue here? It's quite fortunate, but once again, cannons the blue to be away, cannons the pink to be away. May still not be the end of the world for him, because he's 32 points behind. He's going to be at 27 with the blue, so may not actually need the pink at all. But of course, we'll still need every single colour up to that pink, as he has a look to the scoreboard. Now, of course, if he was to score, what's it going to be, 30 more points, you would need the pink, to be fair. So as much as the pink is possible into the right middle, you still need to try and adjust the shot selections for you slightly. And of course, before that point, he's still got a red to try and cannon away from the left side cushion. I don't like Yize, anyone to win it by him. I don't know why you wouldn't like him. And surely if you say that, at least you have to give us the reason. Because he does come across, you don't like him just for the sake of not liking him at all. And meanwhile, anyway, it's going to be Mark Allen to try and play some really important shots here for him. And well, he's going to be on the lower side of a blue. I'm not sure if that was intentional, But it will be quite difficult to try and get himself lined up with a straightforward shot on the red to be taken. So it does seem like he's going to have to try and take it through a gap of the yellow and brown and make sure he's still going to be on the red when that shot is finished, because for now it seems like he's going to find himself in a little bit of a struggling point to try and get too close to that red. And in the end, the cue ball is going to be rolling towards it, but probably it's not going to be too close to that red. He may try and take it away, but I mean, he still needs a reasonable colour with it as well. Otherwise, he might get to the stage where he needs a black to be taken as well, which, you know, doesn't make that pink any easier, of course. Now then, is he going to try and attempt to go for this red into the corner? And he's missed it. Where's the red going to finish? He's going to run safe. So, I mean, it probably wasn't the worst decision there by Mark Cullen, because he was leaving himself to be in the bow colour area. And now we can see just a little bit too close to that front jaw. So the break of 12 points still leaves Yize to try and come back to the table and have got a decent opportunity to try and play a safety shot here, which is not really the player to call usually, but still very much a professional snooker player here, if you didn't know. And just trying to play, well, to be fair, he's played this one really, really well. And look at that, taking the cue ball very much on the side cushion, whilst taking that red on the black ball, then the sides, and then the ball cushion journey for it to be lined up pretty nicely out there. So back to Mark Cullen, 21 points of a lead. So at this stage, if he's unable to put the red with the black, which he won't be, unless to be fair, he does, and then he puts it out of the equation anyway, but he may need a total clearance here, because if you think about it, if he scores 28 points at this stage right now without the black here, it will still be very much down to the black for him to try and win it, while the plant reds are stuck and not aligned to the pocket. Was careless, that's true. He was careless, but a couple of shots later, and Mark Cullen was still not able to do anything with it. Or is he going to put a red over the middle? It's going to be close. Well, I'll tell you what, it's a little bit too close for comfort, but I feel like he's just about managed to get away with this one. And yeah, it's not even too close, to be fair. As soon as that red goes over the sort of line of the middle pocket, it's not going to be able for you to try and pot it. So it's just going to be down to a safety there to be played from Yize's point of view. And once again, it's not about safety there. If the cue ball just pulls up a little bit more to the left, which he hasn't done, it still manages to be lined up nicely for that red to be taken towards the green pocket, after it would look like, you know, a decent starting point for a maximum. Has turned out to be quite a nervous frame here. Now then, his previous matches over here, he's played some bad snooker matches. I expected him to cruise the lost hopes. Since Mark or Judd is gone, it would be unfair if Sean doesn't make it. Unbelievable. I mean, once again, that's... If you've seen snooker that Yize has demonstrated against Mark Selby, against Li Bei Fan, against the same play, pretty much you wouldn't be comparing him to Sean Murphy, because he probably has been the player of the tournament so far. And if you talk about the likes of opposition that, you know, sort of... what's his name? I completely forgot. Sean Murphy had to overcome, but it still wasn't as hard and as difficult as, trying to play against the likes of Li Bei Fan, and very much than having Mark Selby on the same play, especially after the latter managed to knock out the reigning world number one here. As Yize plays a bit of a risky shot away, and now he's going to force Mark Cullen to try and play a safety shot out of this one, because of how close the cue ball is going to be towards the green. So then make sure he's going to have some pace on this one. And the cue ball is going to find the back of the pocket for the second time in this frame. Now, where's the red going to finish? Is he going to finish in behind the green? It doesn't really help the case, because that way it would be the free ball. And that's not something that Mark Cullen needs. And he will be down to a shot now. 25 points as the lead. Well, going to be very interesting to see what's going to happen here. And Mark Cullen's, well... couldn't quite control that white well enough, and yeah, of course it's better than leaving out the red to be a frame ball pretty much, and the next colour after the red to be a frame ball to be precise. But if you're still going to leave a chance of Yize scoring 8 points, or well, potentially 8 points if he is to take the brown, yellow, or any other colour with the black. So for now, it just seems like he's going to try and put that cue ball to be in very much the exact position that he needs it to be, so that he tries to make contact with the red and the green. So still an interesting short selection that from Yize, because it's clearly going to be very much one of those shots there where you have to get it right. Otherwise, you get your opponent to be very much back to the table. So then, a single point that he takes off the brown here. Alan is surely in the final, will be the only final that makes sense. Tell you what, you're not really on the same page as we are you? Because Sean Murphy against Mark Cullen in the final, no disrespect, you'll be probably one of the worst finals that we've seen. Jack Jones against Karen Wilson is going to be more enjoyable than that to me. And that's pretty much only my point of view. And I would love to see Sean Murphy against Yize, by the way. But Sean Murphy against Mark Cullen, to me, he just doesn't work in the final. And yeah, that's... Maybe it sounds disrespectful, but, you know, I mean that with all the respect. I just hope that Yize manages to make his way to the final. And then if it's going to be Sean Murphy, then that's absolutely fair play, because he would have managed to defeat John Higgins at that stage. For now, Yize clearly just focused on trying to score 5 points, and then he realised that he didn't have the perfect position here to try and, you know, take the red with that as well. So gets Mark Cullen to be snookered, and now it's down to Alan to try and get himself out of this position. To try and play this shot with a little bit of pace and make sure he's going to try and use the yellow and the brown to actually try and snooker Yize back here. So it's a good shot there by Alan. And now it's going to be down to Yize to try and come back to the table. So if he tries to play this one with a rest shot, he probably will come down to playing the red closer to the left side cushion here. If he plays this with a little bit of topspin here as well, well, probably wasn't going to be coming down to topspin. Just trying to play it safe, and in the end certainly worked out there. Mark Cullen will have a consideration there to see if he's going to need a rest, and he probably won't, as he says. He's going to play this one away from the side cushion there, you would have thought, although you know, he's going to have a second thought about it. So just looking at the red and the way that he can try and take this one towards the yellow pocket. It's not really going to be the shot that, you know, you dream of playing every single day, but at the same time, it's still going to be a very important way of trying to get that cue ball to be safe. And it still has turned out to be such an important frame for either Yize or Mark Cullen, especially for Yize, to be fair, because if he loses this one, surely it'll be 3 frames too many for him to lose, because, you know, if he finds himself in a position where going for a maximum 61 points in, and he's still not able to get over the finish line. Now Alan just carefully plants that red to be on the side cushion, and you know, cannons the cue ball to be heading towards the right side cushion here as well. So once again, over to you, Yize, and let's see if he's going to be able to just try and give it a very gentle touch on the left side to make sure that sort of leaves that cue ball to be heading in behind the brown and yellow. Basically the same thing that we've seen Alan do to him beforehand. Now he's going to try and play this shot with plenty of spin and plenty of power behind it. Just needs to make sure that red is not going to cannon too much into the open place. And, well, it seemed like he's managed to put that one somewhat safe. And not sure if he's got the blue to be in the way of the red as well. And that is not going to be a nice way of Mark Cullen to be feeling, because he's got that snooker. And this is going to be a difficult for you to try and get out of. Never-ending frame. Well, to be fair, it's not really been that long, but it still feels like it certainly has been a while since we've seen Yize go for that break of 147. Now, important shot here for Alan. He makes the contact with the reds. Where's he going to push that one over to? He needs a contact with the green, and he's got that one in. So he's able to survive here, but once again, just on the edge there a little bit. And once again, giving the turn back to Yize, having a look if he's going to try and put the cue ball to be in behind the green here. Just needs the reds, and then he should have a colour with it as well, which will make sure that Mark Cullen won't have any point to be coming back to the table. So then, just try and get this one in behind the green, as I say, but he's trying to go for another solution, and I'm not sure if it's worked out, but it seemed like the line that he's taken is not too bad at all. You know, trying to use the yellow and the brown as the cover point there in between the cue ball and the reds. Now he finds himself in a position where forcing Mark Cullen to try and take this one from the ball cushion onto the right side potentially as well. But ultimately, the green is going to be getting in the way there slightly. So it's not going to be quite as easy out there. And as he's playing, not sure what that is, so I'm not going to call it. But now, once again, very important couple of shots there for Mark Cullen, because if he's going to have a chance to try and take the cue ball away into the red, of course, if he misses it, he'll be down to needing that red to take with a black and still try and get through to the yellow. He's taken that red well. And where's he going to finish with that red? I'll tell you what, this is going to be very, very close in relation to trying to pot this red into the left middle. But once again, as he was beforehand, he'll probably be a little bit short there of having this red to be available. Now, Yize has got a bit of a smile on his face, which I always say it's a sign that something risky is about to come. And he's trying to cut this one in. Wow, I thought it was impossible. Where's the cue ball going to finish? It's going to finish at the table. That was a cut and a half. And that was absolutely brilliant stuff there from Yize. I said, every single time he's got a smile on his face, he's about to do something which very few people on the tour will do. And he certainly managed to take that right away very, very nicely indeed. And now, just try and make sure he's got at least one of those colours to be heading, well, safe on the cushion. He's going to help, but of course, it could still be very much down to. And brown, it seemed like he's called, just trying to take that one away towards the, what's it called, to the side cushion probably, just making sure he's not going to have too much of a chance to give away for Mark Allen to try and get him snookering behind off. Because he's got the yellow, he's got the, well, obviously he's got the yellow, he's got the green, he's got the blue to an extent, right next to the black where you could try and snooker in behind that one, but still, it feels like that very important point there from Yize may still not get him over the finish line for a little bit of time here, because Mark Allen is known to be a player which doesn't seem to take, too little snookers for him to try and continue and carry on playing. So for now, maybe just looking at the way of getting that cue ball to being behind the green here. Try and double the yellow away and take it. Oh, that's a bad double kiss, and that's probably going to be frame conceded here. Let's see if, that will be very much a concession of a frame. And, nope, he won't be. Sorry, apologies for that. I thought Mark has conceded the frame. And at the end stage, he will be down to a yellow there, which is still available for Yize. So he should be only one more shot there that he takes. And then he should be very much frame over to him. Been a little bit more time that he had to take on it. But at the end stage, the result is the only thing that matters, and the result is going to be with Yize right now, because he's taken that yellow really well in the end, and now he's going to have two snookers as a cushion, so no chance for Mark Allen to come back to the table, especially with the green being very much over the pocket. So, despite Allen having 50 more points there, and that comes away against someone that has been very much a high-scoring player here, Yize is going to be the player that takes the 3-2 lead, and he's able to end the winning streak of 2 frames on the bounce for Mark Allen, taking the double into the left middle as well, and making sure he's still got a chance to try and play the blue away into the left corner. Make sure he's got a decent opportunity of just, trying to stay on the total clearance. It'll be a hell of a clearance if he does it at the end, showing Mark Allen what he could have been for him if he was the player to try and get himself through to a red. And now just make sure he's going to have a chance of what a ping that was. Brilliantly taken across the left side. And now, can he try and go for a little trick shot off the ball cushion? And, he's going to be close. Has he put enough spin on it? It seemed like the cube was just about going to be rolling towards the black. Not quite close enough in the end, but still, a break of 20 points. He will be more than good enough for Yize to try and take this one away from Mark Allen. And in the end, it is 91 points that plays 40. It is Yize that once again takes that gap and extends it back to a single frame there, after Mark Allen wasn't able to continue that winning streak of him. And despite having a couple of those opportunities that he had, he's now not going to be able to compute all of them into the scoreline. And now it is Yize that leads Mark Allen by 3 frames to 2. Still a bit of a lengthy frame after the intermission, but you probably have to say, it has been coming ever since we've seen a couple of those frames to be very much quick fire there from both Yize and Mark Allen. So for now, it will come down to a new session here, but very much potentially same rules to be available to both of the players here as well, because right now, Allen finds himself in a position where he absolutely must win at least one of the remaining frames. Otherwise, of course, he will still potentially find himself to be in the position where, you're going to have 3 more frames to be played. If he's going to lose every single one of those 3, then he still leaves him with that 6-2 of a mountain to climb there a little bit. But at the end, it's only been 2 hours in. He's got plenty of time to try and figure things out for himself. And, it just seems like he's going to have to try and need a little bit of resurrection there in a couple of more of those frames. Once again, he gets his warm water to be renewed. And the referee is about to set the black and the pink away, and then he'll come down to, once again, a break-off shot to be made by Mark Cullen to try and take it away and make sure that it will be very much down to him to try and make things right. And at the same time, just realizing that he will be a very important frame here because he doesn't want to be back to being 2 frames down here, and especially here, trying to make sure that he will come down to a bit of a problem there with Yize guaranteed not to be losing the first session. Well played, Boo, and then the counter-attack wasn't good. Yeah, but listen, it was a little bit more complicated than that. You know, he did have to find himself being 61 points down, and, you know, his first initial break probably was the best chance of him trying to take it away from Yize. He wasn't quite able to do it. Missed that, not final red, but a red of the rest, and that probably was the point, but he has gone wrong for him. But now he's played a really good break-off shot and leaves a chance away for Yize to try and take it away with the right side. Jimmy White not winning a world title is unbelievable. Sometimes it's not sense to determine the outcome of a snooker match. Yeah, but to be fair, you know, Jimmy White is going to be one of those people there, which is still a legend of the sport, despite not being the world champion, being through to so many finals. A couple of them that you surely should have won, even against Stephen Hendry, but, you know, wasn't quite able to do so. And now it'll be down to Yize here to try and play that careful shot. Very much thin on the right-hand side, and he seems to have played that one pretty well. So now he's going to be a red, which is available to be taken into the right corner. Haaland is usually good on the counters. He is, to be fair. That's a good point, because he probably does come across as one of those players which you do expect to try and take it away from you, but whether he's going to be able to do that or not, we'll have to wait and see later on. For now, Haaland's played an aggressive shot here, and has he left the red over the right corner? He has. Has he got the cover on the yellow? Well, it seems like the answer is going to be no to this particular question, and it's anything but easy, though, to try and get onto the colour. Let's have a look what the situation with the black is going to be, because, I mean, Haaland surely is going to be disappointed leaving a red like that. Yeah, you need to try and take it into the side cushion first, but ultimately, you need to judge the pace really well there from Yize's point of view, and that's going to be very difficult to achieve, especially with how close the cue ball is going to be to the ball cushion. So, an important shot to try and get us underway in frame number 6. And he's basically just trusted that cue ball to roll towards the red. He's taken that one well, and he's still going to be on the black. So it's a smart shot there from Yize, because even though, you know, he does leave himself with a little bit of distance, it's probably about as much as he could have done, and judged the pace really well. Now leaving a chance away for himself to try and take the black into the corner and make something out of this break. You know, apart from just scoring a single point. Of course, the problem is he's going to have to play for those reds, which if he does miss the black, which wasn't the case, he was going to be leaving a couple of those chances away. He's taking that black really well, and now he's going to have another bid to try and make it down to win the finals. Not exactly, I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, he's probably the most logical player out of the remaining 4 to be in the final, because of the way that he's managed to, you know, sort of, he's young. He's never been to this stage before, which probably is going to be the only downside, but you can see that he clearly doesn't care about it, as he never did about anything else. You know, it just seemed like he's going to be very much down to a robot mode, where he doesn't care what's happening, he's just here to play snooker, and he usually does it pretty well. So then 16 points of a lead, trying to get those reds to be freeing up the black to go into the left corner of the table. For now, probably not quite the case. And positioning himself to be lined up for the red here, taken into the right corner. Make sure he takes that cue ball carefully onto the top side of the table, just about misses the front jaw of the pocket. And with that being the case, you know, could have opened up the angle a little bit more there for himself. And of course, the result is going to be being on the lower side of a blue. So let's see if he's going to try and play the shot with a little bit of topspin. Make sure he's going to leave that cue ball, or trying to use plenty of the pocket out there to get himself through to a red to be taken into the right-hand side of it. But ultimately, he needs to try and come back for the shot on the blue here once again. So let's see if that's going to be the case. Playing that shot well. Now he's still going to have a chance to be on the, well, he's going to be on the wrong side of a blue again, because he doesn't have that red anymore that he's just taken into the corner. So either he's going to have to be the brown that he takes, or he's going to have to try and do it the long way around the table here on the blue. Seems like either one of those two options is not going to be the easy one for you to take. But at the same stage, which one of them is it going to be chosen there from Yize? So is he going to try and go for the blue into the left middle, try and play this shot with plenty of topspin here to be taken. And now he's trying to cannon that cue ball to be heading all the way for the Reds into the right part of the table. And now he's going to have a chance to try and take the red away into the right corner. Make sure he's going to have a decent opportunity of playing for the red into the corner. And then he'll come down to a chance to be taking a red away after the, well, of course, after this red, he'll be coming down to the black. But this is the shot there where he can go wrong. And he hasn't gone wrong at all in relation to the pot success. And look at the way that he's playing for the black. Beautiful cue ball control, making sure he stops just about in time. And, well, I mean, you can watch this snooker all day. There's been many finals with young and older player, and they're good. Well, the thing about Yize is that he's not just good, he's brilliant, especially when he's on form. And one thing about Yize is that it's very difficult to try and put him out of form. And, of course, that was a bad shot that he's played, though, so may not compliment him too much of a sense at this point, but because that was a straightforward shot there where he didn't even have to be doing any more spin, but it just seems like it's a little bit unfortunate there for him because of how the cue ball sort of got stuck to those reds on the left-hand side. So now, can he try and take a difficult red away to the green pocket? And if the answer is no, then what's it going to be in relation to Mark Allen to come back to the table? For now, the red is going to be close. He's going to be perfectly in the pocket. And he will be down to, once again, a great recovery shot there from Yize that he's taken. And now, still going to have a decent opportunity of taking that red away, being on the blue. And he'll come down to tournament long pot success 62%, which, if you talk about all the matches that he's played, is certainly not a bad stat for you to be having at all. Now then, about to take the blue away and into the left middle. Playing the shot with plenty of topspin. Make sure he's trying to get around the yellow and green there for the edges. Making sure he's going to be lower than the blue as well. And trying to position himself nicely for the red to be taken into the right part of the table. For now, seems like he's playing some really good stuff here once again. And just trying to make sure he makes it look very easy for himself. And just trying to play for probably the pink here because, I mean, he's trying to go for the blue, but I feel like he's just trying to leave himself a little bit too much to do there every single time he has to go for the blue because of how much of a screw back you need to try and take this one away. So then topspin needed. Try and get that cue ball to be past the brown and green and get the white to be rolling towards those two reds to be taken into the corner. And this time around, he's actually going to have a really nice chance because the black bots into the corner. He may actually be able to try and keep it on the black here for a while. And finally, finds himself to be in front based on those points there that he scores. 292, not too many for the opening 5 frames and a half, but still very much better than 278 for Mark Allen. But ultimately, if he was having one more frame that he's managed to win, apart from Allen here as well. So just having a very quick look at the position of those reds to be taken. And for now, it doesn't seem to be too bad at all. Just trying to take that cue ball on a string once again, trying to play on the left-hand side of the pink to get himself the position to be sorted out. Now then, break of 49 points exactly. Having a look at the blue to be taken into the green pocket. The true trophies that won was against older experienced players. Well, let me know which ones they were because, once again, it's difficult to comment without knowing the context. Yeah, but once again, he needs to play such a good shot on the blue. He's trying to take the power away, which certainly helps. But he's left himself with a very tiny gap there to try and play that cue ball in towards the red to be taken into the left corner. All supporters will hope will play sensible snooker, not be cocky and think he's invincible. That's true, but he's probably a little bit too early for that. For now, he just needs to try and enjoy himself, and he's certainly doing that so well. I mean, this break has been absolutely dreamland there for any textbook stuff there because of how many times he's run himself out of position and still he finds himself scoring 62 points in this break, by far the highest since the first frame that we've seen, and still putting himself to be very much the man that dictates the run of play here and only needs 2 more shots to take, and then he'll be 4-2 of a gap. Very much in the making there for Yize. Seemed like he's sort of played in between their pink or black to be taken. So may just have to try and take the shot with plenty of backspin there in the pink. trying to bring the cue ball away from the left side cushion, and Mark Allen right now will find himself to be 4-2 down once again. Doesn't really want to be stuck in this loophole again, where he loses 2 frames and then he wins 2 back and then he loses 2 and again, because, you know, it's fine if you're going to be the player that is leading. It's not really fine if you're going to be the player playing the catch-up all the time. And for now, for those 6 frames, he's had to be doing that here. And once again, it's been a really good break there of 77 points, just like it was in the first frame by Yize here, to try and make it down to a red to take into the left corner. I mean, it's going to be a little bit too straight on this one, but still looking to try and make it past the point of 77 points that he scored previously and trying to make a century break out of it. Playing the shot for the pink. Well, it's not really going to be a great deal of business here for him to try and stay on those reds. Just having a look at the way that he needs to be positioning for the right-hand side of the table to try and take that red away whilst playing a backspin shot on the pink. So then, a little bit too wide, and unless the pink is going to fluke itself into the corner, he will come down to the end of a break and the end of a frame as well. And, well, for now, he's certainly not playing any sort of reckless snooker. He's playing like the snooker that got him into this stage. And now, as the world number 10, of course, newly promoted, he finds himself in a position to be very much enjoying his snooker. And, you know, not my personal achievement. Eventually local tournaments, only 2 and won both. 6-2, 4-2 for now, as Crossing says, but he will still be very much down to a decent opportunity for Yize to try and extend this gap even further, because even though it's going to be down to 4-2 right now, there's not going to be any point which says you can't try and extend the gap to be heading even more in your favour, because that will probably come down to a decent opportunity for you to try and take. And then if it comes down to an opportunity like that presents itself, then who says you can't take it? The red on 36 points is brilliant. I also think it's end of break there. Yeah, I mean, that red brilliantly taken into the green pocket, and still, you know, he wasn't even drifting towards the front jaw of the back end jaw there. He was perfectly on the blue. He was a really good red to be taken. I probably wouldn't say, you know, he's the only player to try and attempt that red away, but the fact that he makes it is a really good sign to him, and hopefully that will be very much the sign of many more frames to see out there. For now, as I say, plenty of reason to be enjoying this one, and still positioning ourselves nicely to be lined up for the finale of this session, which is going to be consisting of 2 more frames to be played. And now 4-2 of a gap for Mark Allen to try and overcome. For now, the frames do come in stages where Yize wins 2, then Mark Allen wins 2, and then Yize wins 2 more frames again. He tries to get himself through to a 5-2 of a gap now, making sure that he'll be able to put himself down to a position of going for that 5-2 of a break. Now making sure the referee is going to try and keep hold of you know, the audience being quiet here. And now the break-off shot is done, and then he'll come down to a chance there that Mark Allen is going to be looking for, but ultimately Yize right now finds himself in a position where he doesn't have to be rushing for those chances, although he might still be doing that anyway. But yeah, ultimately it'll probably come down to whoever gets the first chance in so far has been able to win the frame, although, you know, that wasn't quite a comfortable case in the frame number 6. As Allen there tries to take that red on a journey, and let's see where the cue ball's going to finish, because if it goes too far to the left, it may have actually left a chance for Yize to be taking that red away into the right corner, which is something that Allen would have wanted to try and avoid, but you can see Blue's going to be perfectly lined up with a straight line, so he's played that shot quite well. And so far, by the way, Watchalong is going to be winning the poll of who's had the best season. So let's try and end the poll and see on who do you think has had the best season apart from the likes of Yize and Watchalong, which, of course, at this stage, with Yize being the one playing right now, Mark Allen probably wouldn't be put into the same equation. I feel like it's a little bit unfair on Karen Wilson there, with him only getting 7%, but anyway, who has had their best season? And now we will leave it down to very much the 3 of the remaining players to be taken, as Yize plays a decent safety shot, makes him to be very much in a position of well, sort of control out there, as he gives the turn back to Mark Allen, Trump, and then Wilson. It'll be interesting to see, to be fair, because I've explained why I'm doing those sort of falls right now. and very, very quickly. And then we'll come down to the bottom of this frame as well, because for now, it seems like it's going to be stuck in a safety battle for a while here. As Mark Cullen plays another great safety there. Manages to take a cue ball on a very narrow line that he's taken, and now positioning himself nicely for a shot into the right corner. I can watch live now. Good for you, crossing. And I do really hope that he's going to be through a legal way. And if you're going to be looking for a shot to be taken to the right corner, then you'll probably be very much later on now there to be played. And Yize has snapped his cue there, just in frustration, whether he was down to him miscuing or mishit the cue ball there, but he hasn't gone as far as he should have. So it's not really, he's done a Mark Cullen there where he sort of played the shot and then he had that cue to come into the open space as well. So now gives the turn back onto Mark Cullen here again, and just having a look to see what is going to be happening here in relation to all the other reds. So if I now try and take this shot with so much topspin and trying to make sure that cue ball is not going to be anywhere near those reds, but in the end, after, well, such a good previous shot there from Alan, it seemed like he's still going to be the one that leaves a chance away to Yize, although so many reds here trying to crowd and get in each other's way. Well, is there going to be a gap? There is going to be a gap, but it's not an easy shot for you to play, especially as an introduction shot in the first, first point of the frame to be scored. He can get through to a red, which is a little bit nicer of a cut to be taken, to be fair. He needs to make this one in, and he absolutely powers that one in to be on the blue and the top side of it. Well, that was a brilliant shot there by Yize, as he manages to be now lined up nicely for those blues to be taken into the left part of the table. Once again, absolute thunderstruck there that we've seen, and very much back down to Yize to try and take the blue away into the left middle, whether he's going to be able to try and hold that cue ball for a shot into the right corner. He seems to have done that pretty well, to be fair to it, and now we'll come down to just how many of those reds that he can see. It'll probably be down to a couple of colours that he's managed to put safe through a bit of a fault of his own, as he manages to put the pink to be very much next to the black ball spot, which is probably going to be a lot more of a problem there, that is going to be an advantage. And now having so many reds sort of to be at the middle to sort of bottom part of the table there to be seen for him, he's going to have to try and take the blue away into the left middle pocket for him to try and make sure that he opens up the angle there to try and have a straightforward shot as he can into the left corner as well, and make sure he's going to be able to extend the gap of 12 points even further there for himself. So just try and take this one further and further away. Once again, just very careful and very accurate shots there that are needed for Yize to try and take the red away. Make sure he's going to have a chance to get that one closer towards the yellow and the brown to be taken. And then he will come down to 13 points of a lead here. So it's probably going to come down to more of reds that he takes, apart from taking the colours here, because every single red that you take eliminates 8 points out of the scoring that your opponent can try and produce to try and get closer to yourself. So ultimately, he needs to try and concentrate on not getting, the point on the board, but trying to clean the table here to a good standard. But now just taking the yellow, once again, he's clearly going to be on board with that because of, not bothering about points too much. Although it's difficult to say which color, which red is he played for here, because if it's going to be the one that is closest to the cue ball, then it's sweet. But if that's not the case, he's a little bit too close for comfort. He's going to have to make sure he plays that shot well. And he certainly took no prisoners in that particular attempt. And still going to be lined up nicely for the blue to be taken into the right middle. And he will come down to a decent situation here to try and manage those reds to be taken into the left middle. Is he going to have a chance to try and get in behind of that red? He'll probably come down to it. And in the meanwhile, just having a look at those reds that he can take into the left corner. Now 21 points of a break that he has. And still trying to get to that number 5 there next to the scoreboard, which of course will guarantee that he's certainly going to be the man to try and take this session away. As he plays with plenty of backspin again, trying to get that cue ball to be planted onto the right side cushion. And still looking to try and pop the blue in towards the left middle. Plenty of topspin in behind the cue ball here to try and take this one away. I mean, well, very little power, but great control there on the shot on the blue. Once again, allowing himself to open up a nice angle, make it natural to try and make it back for the blue here. 27 points of a lead now, but ultimately only 99 at the table as he takes another red away. It makes it down to a shot on the blue here, about to be taken into the left middle. And just making sure that he will come down to as easy of a task as he possibly can be for him to try and manage here. As he takes it down to 33 points, still having a couple of reds in the open play here, trying to clear the main part of the table first before he's going to get to the mess of the bottom blackpool cushion here to be available. 5-2. For now, it's not quite there, 5-2, even though, you know, he's got himself into 34 points of a lead. There's still going to be plenty of points here available, and I'll tell you what, it'll be some effort this if he manages to close this frame away without leaving a chance away to Mark Allen, because that will be so impressive for him to try and achieve. And ultimately, it's something that, you know, is a great thing for snooker. Sometimes it will allow you to try and, you know, take it without a second invitation, without, you know, really having the position to be very much available to you. But now just try and take the blue into the left middle, play that shot with plenty of power behind the cue ball, and still try and position himself for the red to be taken into the right part of the table here. 39 points of a lead. Positioning himself to try and take probably the most difficult of the reds, apart from the first one, into the corner, and struck that one well. Managed to get one more red to be further away from the side cushion, which is going to be another great bonus to him. Now having to consider going for the brown here and trying to take the shot away into the one more red that he's got available at the top hand side of the table. Allen still in this as 5 reds are tied yet exactly, but it does seem like, you know, 2 more reds, and I'll probably say he's going to be out of this one, because at that stage 5 reds are tied up. It's going to be more of a disadvantage there for Mark Allen, because, well, right now 2 more reds that I was looking for are not going to happen here. Yize has run himself out of position there. It was going to happen at some point. He's trying to separate the reds away, and he sort of came up short there. So what can he do here? Is he going to go for a shot with a long range into the green pocket, or is he going to be something else that he decides to play for here? Well, we're about to witness, you know, what is going to be heading through his mind, because for now, 45 points of a lead is still very much a healthy one for him to try and take. Surely he's not trying to cut the red into the right corner, but that would be some shot there if he makes it, but it will be such a horrible shot to leave a red away over the corner. It's risky, but it's brilliant if you make this one in. And he's got it. Brilliant shot there once again by Yize, and he's able to make those look so easy there for himself, and having to work so hard there in the end. And now 46 points of a lead, another red there, and then I feel like Mark Allen is going to be out of the picture for how difficult the total clearance will become at this stage already. But ultimately, yeah, you know, the sequence is about to be broken there. Even 50 points for Yize is going to be so difficult for Mark Allen to try and overcome. Now just looking to see if there is going to be any sign of Yize trying to slow down and leave a chance away for Mark Allen, but it seems like he's a little bit too straight on the brown here to be taking on. Is he going to have to try and take the yellow away into the right middle, try and play for the reds, which has managed to sort of, you know, make it in the open there for himself. So what type of a shot is he preparing for? Is it going to be a brilliant yellow that he's taken? And now he's got pretty much 2 identical reds to be taken, 1 into the green pocket and 1 into the right corner of the table. So then, as I say, 1 more red in the colour combination, and then he will be down to pretty much impossible for Mark Allen to try and recover with this one. You can see in the background, the audience can hardly believe the shots that he's managing to find every single time there. And he's so dangerous, this kid, when he manages to be in the zone there. And some brilliant shots that he's taken. He's going to take the blue now into the right middle. And, well, all of a sudden, he's now going to be on a frame ball if he plays for the blue here. Which has been absolutely astonishing break. This one will take him 55 points clear, and the blue will take him 60 points clear of Mark Allen. This has been absolutely astonishing break. The way that he was able to get himself out of trouble, you know, on that red that he's taken into the right corner has been absolutely sublime. And now it comes down to a shot here where he will be either Mark Allen to come back to the table and try and fight a little bit longer, or he will be down to, Yize to try and run away with this one. 60 points of a break here, and you can see 11 reds that he's taken, 9 blues, 2 yellows. Astonishing break there for the value of it. And now still trying to be lined up for the reds. About to be taken into the corner. That one will surely take it over the finish line, even if he's not going to be on the collar, which so far is not really going to be in his vocabulary. Trying to get the paint to be available, but in the end you can see there, so eager to try and witness if, the paint was sort of available to him as soon as he hit the red. Didn't bother about the red going in because it was a positive thing, and was always had his eyes on the red to be taken next to the pink, but in the end, he only goes and pots the green really, really well. Now just needs a bit of luck to be on the red into the right corner. And it's difficult to say if he's going to be on one, but he's probably gone beyond the point of reach there for Mark Allen. And he's probably gone beyond the point of reach for the whole session here as well. Such a brilliant break, such a brilliant player. And it's only going to get better for him surely at this stage. And, the first session of Shaun Murphy against John Higgins has finished with 4 frames each. This one seems like it's only going to be one more. Pretty much consolation shot there from being confirmed to have finished as well. And that will probably be the case anyway. The pink is going to be covered up. And the black is going to be covered up as well. There's not going to be any point for Mark Allen to carry on. And it will be down to Yize 5, Mark Allen 2. It does turn out to be very much a one-way street, one-way traffic, whatever you want to call it, one-way match as well. Because here, you're going to have Yize to try and take that comfortable lead of 2 frames each. Mark Allen comes back and makes it 2 frames each. 5th frame, anyone's for the taking. Allen had that chance to try and steal that frame away from Yize, and now he finds himself very much to be in a position of comfort there as he leads Mark Allen by 5 frames to 2. And still, very much in a comfortable spot there. Good break without points from pink, not black. I mean, brilliant there from Yize, and well played. I mean, that's for sure well played from Yize's point of view. That's such a brilliant play that we've seen. And it's still going to be very much over to Mark Allen to try and showcase the snooker that got him back into, very much sharing the same number of frames there. But even though he's only scored 112 less points, he finds himself to be 3 frames down. Make that make sense. And the 3 latest frames, by the way, have been absolutely dominated there by Yize, which tells you how close all the remaining frames have been and how confident, the frame wins for Allen have actually been there as well. Now then, it's down to one more frame to be taken. Someone in the audience checking their messages there, as you can see on the camera. Hope it's not going to be too close to them so I can actually see, not me, but obviously there's going to be some people that are going to be too interested in that particular effort. Still, the turn up for the Crucible is going to be a great numbers as usual. One more frame to be seen, and then he will come down to match to continue tomorrow. How about Allen? Sleep? Not for now. Not. Now the referee just trying to make sure he will be down to the players and the fans. And it will be the final frame of the session confirmed there by the referee as he's trying to get hold of all the fans. They certainly weren't getting in the way of Yize, as nothing pretty much was getting anywhere near the way of Yize, as it's now going to be the break-off shot. And you never know, with the way that Wu has been playing, he may prove to be the last shot that he's played in the entire session here. Nearly said in the entire match. That's not gonna. He's not that good for him to win the first of 17 match in a single session, although I mean, that will be taking the snooker to a whole new dimension. Forget about the universe. It will certainly be a whole new world there for Yize to try and take. But for now, surely he's not going to be able to make this long red into the left corner. Well, nothing is impossible when you're playing well. And Mark Allen is going to be sat to his seat thinking, what have I done wrong there to have drawn this opponent? And for now, it's the semi-final, but it feels like the final worthy of a performance from Yize, and he's been absolutely brilliant in the way that he's taken that red away into the corner, and he's going to be off and up and running once again here in this semi-final appearance. Just looking to try and make it on the green here, so that he's going to have a chance to try and take the white onto the side cushion here. Make sure he's going to have the ability to play the white to be heading for those reds. to be taken into the right corner. And once again, a bit of a similar story here to the previous frame, because now it won't be the yellow that is taken with the first red, but ultimately the similarity is going to be down to the way that he has to play those shots for the blue. Nearly missed the red, by the way, to try and go 5 points clear, but he still manages to be very much in contention to try and take this one away from Mark Allen, as he gets himself through to a decent line of taking a shot away. Now then, played the shot once again really, really well, trying to keep this break going for him. And just having a look once again at the scoreboard, making sure that he hasn't missed anything. And still trying to make sure that he will come down to a decent line that he's looking to take. And just very carefully trying to brush those reds as he takes that red away really nicely as well. A shot on the blue was good, but that shot on the red, look at the backspin, look at the cue action that he's managed to achieve out there. We're very much in the zone now, relaxed with 3-frame lead. It doesn't have to do anything else. Mark Allen spent so much time talking about, you know, the way that he was down so many frames with Mark Selby and John Higgins. Well, it's a different type of opponent, but he may find himself to be in a similar position here as well. Although Yize put a lot of effort and a lot of trust into his own shot that he's played. Is he going to have enough of the red that he sees? I mean, it's close. It's difficult to tell from this angle, but it seems like he's going to be committed to take that red away and make sure he's going to be on the black here as well. Well, it's not quite going to be ideally on the black here in relation to try and keep that cue ball to be pointing towards the next couple of reds to be taken. Told you 6-2. Well, it'll be down to 60 more points to try and score, and even at that stage, you know, he'll still be very much a comeback possible there for Mark Allen, although it's going to be only the first session here as well. And now Yize just having a look to see on what's going to be happening at the top edge of the table. He needs to try and find his way, trying to get past the ball colours here, play the shot with plenty of power behind it as well, and try and get himself through to a chance of taking the black away into the left corner. Make sure he's going to have plenty of power behind that as well. We'll try to take the power away, which is interesting. Let's see if he's going to be behind the blue. He will be. That wasn't part of his plan, surely. And he'll have to come down to 24 points that he scores. 6-2 also. It's not quite 6-2. It's only 24 points clear. And it could still be a massive difference maker if he's going to be 5-3 or 6-2, even though, you know, there's going to be plenty of points scored without answer there, without reply, if you want to say, to Mark Allen. But it only takes one chance. And it only takes one mistake, and all of a sudden you could find Yize to be a very much settling for a 5-3 of a gap, rather than heading for a 6-2 comfortable lead into the session number 2. For now, it does look comfortable for him, but you must say, you have to give him credit for trying to stick with Yize through the opening part of this match, and he may have to try and do this one again here. Last pot time for Allen. He's now heads back to 41 minutes ago, which is a long time there. If you talk about it after the intermission, now he needs that cue ball to keep on running to try and finish in behind the yellow. That won't be the case, as he's going to cannon that one from the lower end. So, once again, Yize is going to have to try and study the position here. But he's got an opportunity to try and, you know, put a couple of those reds to be on the side cushion, although probably a little bit early for that in relation to the points advantage that he has over Mark Allen. So, trying to take that red away into the right part of the table. Make sure he's got plenty of pace in behind the cue ball as he takes that shot away, wanting to try and finish in behind the brown. He will be close, but once again, as he was in the previous time with the yellow, he will just come towards the brown and cannon that one to be heading out of the way. So once again, it's a good opportunity here for Allen to try and probably take those reds away on the left-hand side, over the ones closest to the left side cushion. See if he's going to try and take this one on the right side though. Play this with plenty of power behind it. And closer towards the right corner as well. It seems to have put that one pretty nicely there in relation to the cue ball. In relation to the reds, he hasn't really got anything wrong either. So it's a good shot there by Allen. And now, once again, even those type of safety shots, even though they're not going to be the type of attacking shots that you would expect, at the same time, you'll be very much down to those important shots there that get you out of trouble and potentially could see your opponent to feel slightly unsettled. Although it'll probably take a little bit more than that to unsettle someone like Yize. Oh, that was such a, wow, that's a brilliant, cute shot there in a straight line. I don't know how he missed that red on the way up and down the table, but of course, I only say it's a brilliant shot there because of how good it looked. It's going to be a foul shot, 4 points to Alan, and he's going to have to put this one back there. I thought Alan might consider to be taking the red away into the right corner. He had other plans about it. So now, once again, Yize with an opportunity to try and once again make things right there for himself. Go for a shot away into the very much thin on the edge there. He probably won't be called as a 3 misroll anyway. Yeah, it looks to be perfect to me. And it looks to be really good in relation to where he was previously. So just needs to be making sure that he's not going to have this one to be hit absolutely perfect. Or he's hit that one a little bit too thick, but in the end, the result is still going to be a lot better than the previous time of asking. Puts the yellow to be slightly further out of position. So then back there to Mark Cullen, the turn goes. And he'll be back down to a shot on the right corner to be taken here for Mark Cullen. Let's see if he's going to be able to do anything else with it. But for now, just seems like he's a little bit too consistent for, his way of playing the game. In relation to Yize, of course, I'm talking about. I don't have to try and find his moment of magic to try and put Yize to be on the back foot. Is he going to try and go for this long red? He has. He's missed it. And he's still going to bring that cue ball to be in a pretty nice zone in relation to the red. He hasn't gone too close to the corner. Yize might fancy his chances to try and get around the black, though. It'll be interesting to see. He's going to have to try and do something with his red, whether it's going to be an attacking fashion or not. Yeah, he's just trying to take it into a safety shot, but he hasn't played that shot well. And he needs the cover on the green. Is he going to get the cover on the green? Well, the short and sweet of it, he won't really do that. And now, it's a chance. It's certainly going to be a long pot there for Mark Cullen. Already it's going to be over the corner pocket, so it's impossible for you to miss it. Unless you actually try to miss it. So it'll certainly be down to a shot to be taken. But more importantly, trying to get the position on the black here will be very, very important here for Mark Cullen. Now he tries to get that cue ball to slow down. And he seems like he's played that one pretty much spot on as well. So 19 points of a lead. Getting himself through to a chance. And trying to go with an opportunity here to be taken into the left corner. See if he's going to get that cue ball to keep on running. For now, he just has to try and take the careful black away into the right corner of the table as he gets himself positioned for another red to be taken into the opposite side of the table here. So still, it doesn't seem like it's going to be looking too bad for him in relation to this particular frame. It's still very much getting a decent chance and a decent value out of, what can you see ahead of him here? In relation to, if you take those reds individually, there's not really going to be a huge loads of a problem for you to try and deal with. And of course, if you try and, think about them as a whole, then you might be able to struggle with a couple of shots there to be taken. But Alan is known for having clearances like that to be found. Although, has he got the form into the previous 7 frames to try and take into this frame as well? Make sure he avoids any unnecessary bad played shots there. So the pink was played nicely. And of course, he only finds himself to be 5 points behind. And the pink is going to go out of the picture for now. So Alan is certainly going to try and focus on taking the red away for the black. And make sure that cue ball is going to be played towards the black here as well. So it's a decent chance here for Alan, as I mentioned beforehand. But you probably will come across as the one that has to be taken away out of the equation as well. Otherwise, it's just not going to be worth to be turning up for the second session. If you don't take chances like that away, you may as well not play at all, as I say. For now, just let me try and sort something out here. And yeah, he will come down to a decent chance here for Mark Cullen, but more importantly, he will probably be down to a decent opportunity to be taken away with the black and away with those reds to be available to him, because it still seems like he's not going to be playing those shots too badly at all. And now he's about to get another point on the board here as he takes the red away with the black, and just seems like he's had to take a step backwards in relation to the shot that he just played. And still making sure he's going to keep himself to be very much composed in relation to what's going to be happening around him at the table. So then about to take the lead here of 11 points. Tries to take the black away, make sure he's still going to be on the red lines up to the right corner. And yeah, very interesting about those type of shots there, that if you're going to have a a red to try and free up there. He basically free up a couple of more reds as well with it. So that's going to be even more of an advantage for Mark Cullen, because he can try and treat those reds very much as a separate entity. So if you clear one of them away, automatically clears a couple of more to have available for yourself. But of course, the only little thing that he needs to consider and he needs to remember about is that a minor mistake here and leaving a position away to his opponent will be pretty much the end of a frame and be down to the end of the session as well. For now, he's still in there with a chance. 17 points is the lead. And a little bit too wide on this particular red that he needs to try and take. So he needs to cue this one well. And played it into the front jaw, but at the same time missed out on the front jaw contact completely. Managed to get another red to be in the open play. Meanwhile, played that shot about as well as it was possible for him. So once again, just needs to try and keep the pressure on himself there of having to deliver those very crucial points there at the end. Oh, he's missed the black. Has he fluked it into the left middle though? That was a little bit close for comfort, but wow, in the end, he will be very much down to a chance here for Yize to be very much lined up with, because that was a bad mistake there from Alan. And at the end stage, that miss came out of absolutely nowhere. Well, that may be down to just a little bit of a, bad way of playing those previous frames there. As I said, he just needed to have a straightforward couple of shots there to play. In the end, he didn't get those. But, I say he didn't get them. He had to take that black with a little bit of pace, but even in that case, he didn't have to do anything spectacular with that. We'll need to take more extra seconds for safety plate. What I missed by Alan, I could pot that black. Well, yeah, but I'm not sure if you're going to be able to get on the red, but ultimately, of course, you shouldn't be missing a black like that away. And now, what's he going to be down to Yize here? Is he going to try and leave himself with a little bit of distance here in between those reds and the cue ball? Seems like he's committed to it. But of course, would have loved to be in a straight line, because he's now going to have to try and get that cue ball through to those reds whilst, getting a couple of those reds to be out of the way. So it's an important shot there. Needs to make this one in. Has made this one in. And he's put two reds to be exactly in a straight line there. Looking nowhere near the pocket. So still does seem like this is going to be very much the distance there that the frame goes. And you can see he's had his eyes on those two reds straight away. He needs to try and cannon them here. As he got it, it's a decent effort, but in the end, it's probably not going to be good enough to be lined up on either one of those two. Although, it won't be the first time, of course, if you think that, and then he's got a really nice opportunity to try and take those reds away from each other. For now, he's going to get a decent opportunity to try and play those type of reds away. Asking for an extension from the referee, so it's going to be very interesting to see if he's actually able to get through those reds, and then if he is, he's got a great opportunity to try and, as I say, make things right there for himself and make sure that he's still going to be very much staying with a chance there to try and take it away. For now, just looking to try and make it down to the wire here. And looking at the reds at the right corner, I'm not too sure if that's going to be all down to, the comfort on the rest, but maybe just a minor adjustment that he needs. It's a very important shot coming up now for Yize. He needs to try make sure everything is going to be just about as perfect for the setup as it possibly can be. Now, eyes on the prize. Is he going to be able to get this one in? It's a difficult shot here, but if he makes it in, he's got a great chance of taking this one all the way. He made the red in. Now, how's the cue ball going to be looking in relation to the blue? And he's going to be on the wrong side of it again, but he's keeping the pressure on there. And Alan Dunn, well, he's not quite done it here. It's still very much down to anyone's frame for the taking, but Yize ultimately is going to be at the table. And he's got a really nice line there to be taken on the blue. Trying to make sure he steadies the ship here on the shot for one more red to be taken. And then he'll very much come down to the red closer to the right side rail. And having to play that one really, really well. So now just having a look to see, well, is it going to be as easy as it looks on the blue here to be taken and just try and position that cue ball to be closer to those reds? The answer is probably not so much here because he's still got a little bit of pressure on him. And, well, is he going to have to try and take the black away? It's going to be a nasty shot there to have yourself to line up with. Yes, he'll give you an extra colour to try and use, but ultimately, it's such an important shot. And has he messed that one up? He has. So he's going to have to go for the red, closer to the right side rail to be taken. And of course, he's still going to be technically on the red, and he's still technically on the chance to try and close out the frame, but this one is going to be so much more difficult than the other red could have been. Now, does he make this one in? Surely this is going to be a little bit too good for him. The audience in the background are going to be watching very closely, and the red is going to be missed. So let's see, where is he going to finish? He's played that shot pretty well in relation to trying to get cover on the blue, but he's going to apologise because he got perfect cover on the blue in relation to the way that he got himself out of jail there, and he's going to leave Mark Allen to be snookered here. So 2 points is the lead for Yize, and now it's down to Allen to try and come back to the table with a chance to try and, as I say, make things right there for himself. Just having a look with the straight line. So to see how many of those reds, if any, he's got available to himself. But of course, it's not going to be the case when the blue is going to be getting in the way. So then just try and play the shot with, you know, plenty of power. But of course, you need to be very careful with not leaving a free ball away. And, well, he's played that into the open space, to be fair. So Yize would probably expect to put Mark Allen to be back in exactly the previous position. He's going to have a very quick look at this one. But, yeah, I'm pretty sure he's going to ask for this one to be put back exactly where it was. And that is the case. And now 6 points is the lead. Allen, of course, needs to prioritise the contact points on the reds a lot more over the, you know, trying to get that position to be sorted. Sorry, they're trying to get the position to be sorted out has to be prioritised a lot more in relation to what he's going to have to try and do here. Because if he gets himself to be out of position here and, you know, he misses it out on a couple of those shots to be taken, that's fine. But if he leaves the red to be available for Yize, which is what happened here, I mean, he got the contact point, but has he managed to put the red safe? Well, it's not going to be safe. Can Yize take this one away? Usually he answers those questions very, very quickly. But still, from the side cushion, it's not quite as easy as it might look here. The red to be slightly lower than the blue ball line. And you still remember, he needs to be absolutely spot on his position on the black to try and transition for that last red to be taken. And it doesn't have to be the black that he has to be spot on for. Now then, has he played the shot well enough? He needs to try and get that cue ball to slow down. And it seemed like he's going to leave himself with a really nice shot there on the black to be taken. So, after all that, it does seem Yize is going to be a little bit too strong here for Mark Allen. And the session is going to end by 6 frames to 2 out there. He still needs a couple of shots for that to be the case. But now 15 points of a lead. 14, I should say. 15 after the red. And then he'll come down to the yellow, basically. And that transition from the black onto the yellow is the only place where it can go wrong there for Yize. For now, just trying to take the red away into the left corner, make sure there's going to be plenty of power in behind the shot. And as he managed to take that one away, he's still got the black to try and pot. But this is, as I say, the black and then the yellow are the only 2 shots that he needs. And then even if he needs the green with it as well, he will be down to an easy shot to be put away. Now then the black to try and make things right there for himself and try and get himself through to a 6-2 of a lead. Now, just doesn't want to be too straight on the yellow, and he's played this one shot absolutely perfectly as well. So then 22 points of a lead, and it does seem like Mark Allen is not going to have the response at the end. So Yize is certainly going to be the player to try and come back very much with a healthy 6-2 of a lead. Well, I'll tell you what, there's been a lot of talking about, you know, Yize probably being the best chance for Mark Allen to try and make it to the finals. Maybe that was on paper. It won't be like that in reality, though, because now it is very much down to Team China here to progress towards having an advantage into the second session, and it's a big one as well. It's a 6-2 lead, and he finds himself in a position where he's going to try and take the blue away into the middle pocket and make sure he's still going to have a chance for a nice little total clearance here to be done with 43 points exactly. Trying to take the pink away. And remember, he came back to the table whilst having a difficult red to play. That certainly was out of the equation now. He's going to win this one whilst absolutely dominating this session. He carefully rolls the black into the corner and he will be down to a break of 43 points. And it will be Yize to take it down to 6-2 of a lead against Mark Allen. And he certainly came here to play. And he's managed to come out with a fantastic performance at the end. he leaves himself with a 6-2 advantage over Mark Cullen. Yes, it's a race of 17, but you still feel like it could be a very significant point there in between the match of Yize and Mark Cullen. And I tell you what, he certainly is going to be down to Yize playing some great stuff, but the match is not going to be over just about yet. And it's still going to be very interesting to see on how this one will pan out at the end point of it. Because still, Yize is going to try and take everything that he can to utilize this advantage. And of course, Mark Cullen will try and come back with something a lot stronger on his end as well. For now, thank you very much for everyone that has tuned into the stream. 4 frames straight after mini break by Wu. Don't think many would bet on that exactly. And this is why it was so impressive for that to be the case. Thank you very much for everyone tuned into the stream. Feel free to join for that marathon to continue of the semi-finals to be very much carrying on for tomorrow as well. And yeah, appreciate every single one of you. Stay tuned in for the action, and you'll be down to tomorrow to resume the action of Yize, Mark Cullen, and John Higgins against Sean Murphy. Stay tuned in. Plenty of action to come as we get closer towards the finish line at the Crucible and the whole season of the World Snooker Tour to be over as well. Stay tuned in. Thanks for watching again.